Q&A 4. Let's do it. First question. Oh, before we go here, whoever decides to timestamp this, make an announcement right away. Say, I'm timestamping this and put that on the thread, okay? Because you guys are so awesome that we have, multiple people timestamping each one of these. So I'd like to save some of you the redundancy. So whoever jumps on it first, make an announcement that you're timestamping this so the other guys won't. And just got to say I'm really thankful that you guys are so enthusiastic about helping out like that, and everybody really appreciates it and benefits, so thank you very much. Okay, first question. Is it possible to get rid of glasses for short sight, aka myopia? Now, I'm sure it's possible, but I don't have personal experience. I haven't had glasses or corrective anything for my eyes, so I don't have personal experience. But I know what I would be doing in your shoes. If I had short-sightedness, myopia, whatever it's called, I would have long since been researching the exercises to strengthen the brain's connection to those muscles to coordinate them better in the eyes. And I'd be looking into every form of nutrition from the four corners of the earth that has been known to be exceptionally good for eye health, okay? That's what I would be doing in your shoes. Me personally, I would entirely believe that I could heal it. That's the way I approach things. I've healed from many things that people told me you can't and I wouldn't. So for me, that's my answer. Much love. Next question. I just tried your chest shrug exercise and I love it. However, do you think it comes with any risks? I am scared that the heavy weight might cause a pec tear or something. Well, I don't advise people to train with anything that scares them, because the truth is, if you're scared of something, you are more likely to cause yourself some kind of problem. So what I would say is just lighten the weight and go higher rep. One of the great things about another chest shrug, I can build great muscle with light weight or I can build great muscle with heavy weight. Because either way, as long as you use a weight strap for your hand so your hand doesn't give out, you can rep and rep and rep and rep until the cows come home. You can take one plate and rep it until your upper chest is smoking, and you literally can't even shrug that weight up one more time. So if nothing else, I would advise that. Take a lighter weight and just do one set to absolute, utter, ridiculous failure on both sides of your upper chest. Boom, done. More upper chest gains incoming from that than any amount of incline bench. Unless you happen to have the bone structure and muscle structure that allows you to get great upper chest gains from normal incline presses. Some people seem to do okay that way, but from what I can tell, genetically, the way humans are built, I feel like this exercise is really the best upper chest exercise ever invented, because I've never found anything else even close as far as how hard you can contract and isolate your upper chest. Outside of this, there are no chest isolation moves, really. I mean, people will try to say that flies or, pec deck machines or something is chest isolation. It's not really. You're still using shoulders. So to me, this is the most superior upper chest exercise there is. And just remember that it's very versatile. You can go lightweight, extremely high rep, and get really good gains. So if you're going so heavy you feel like you're about to rip something loose, just lighten it up. Go a little higher on your reps and your volume, and a little lower on your max weight there. Maybe your body is warning you of something. Maybe there is a tendon or a connective tissue somewhere in your upper chest that you really are stressing to the max. So just to be safe, back off a little on the weight and up the reps and get even more gains. All right? Much love. Next question. How to do arm feeder workout? Well, you can Google arm feeder workouts and find many different versions of it. There's no exact rule about how to do an arm feeder workout. The basic concept is just to get a pump. It's not to lift heavy, it's not to tear the arms up, it's not to exhaust them, it's just to get a great pump. So most people, again, this is variable by individual, some people get a great pump off of one set, some people it takes 8 sets. But to go somewhere with an average, most people probably 3 sets of biceps, 3 sets of triceps, and you want a superset back and forth, no breaks. Biceps, triceps, biceps, triceps, biceps, triceps. You can pick any exercise you like, and you can mix it up and do it different each time. The exercises you choose. Pick a light weight that you can rep 15 to 30 times and get a good burn and a pump. in those 3 supersets, and that's it. You're done. That's an arm feeder. Now what I do to take it to a higher level is I wrap my arms with resistance bands. I do occlusion training or blood flow resistance training. Google it, okay? I add that to get it even way more of a super pump every day when I do my arm feeders. And for me, that's been working really well. There are scientific reasons you can actually read about why occlusion training causes muscles to grow. It's not just some wishful thinking kind of thing. I don't waste my time on wishful thinking. So, check that out. Much love. Next question. Mr. Nether, you said that internal rotation exercises are fine as long as you balance it with external rotation exercise. If I'm doing another chest stroke, what type of external rotation exercise should I do? Thanks in advance, my dude. Now, somebody responded to this. Face pulls are good, yes. Also, look at Athlean X. Go over to Jeff Cavalier, Athlean X, his fitness page, and just type in external rotation. The guy has many great videos showing the best external rotation exercises ever. Now, sooner or later, I'll get around to doing my own external rotation demos, just so this is a more complete fitness page, fitness site. But the truth is, I'm not going to be able to demonstrate it any better than Jeff, so you might as well just go look at that. So, yes, and what I like to do is at the end of a shoulder workout, I like to do external rotation workout at the end. Now, some people do it at the beginning. There is no right or wrong here. I just do it at the end because I like to give the last message on shoulder training that I like to give my shoulders is have good posture, guys. So that's why I finish with external rotation work. But yeah, check out Jeff Cavalier, Athlean X. Look up all his external rotation exercise demonstration videos. They're very clear. They're very well explained. He's a super high-level professional, and that's really what he specializes in, is understanding physiology for athletes, balancing imbalances, correcting injuries, preventing injuries. So there's really nobody better for teaching that topic. So check it out. Much love. All right. Next question. Can you please elaborate on being healthy while also consuming animal products? Well, that's a huge topic that any number of long-winded books out there are probably already written on. Here's the thing, again, everybody's DNA is entirely different. I know you're not used to hearing that. You're used to little books that tell everybody to do everything the same, like you're a bunch of drones. But it's not true. The genetic diversity of the digestive system, just like every other system in the human body, is completely different from person to person. Some people are extremely healthy, eating a certain amount of animal products. Other people are literally shortening their life every time they eat animal products. That's how different DNA is. So this generalized question, I can't just go say, oh yeah, you can be healthy and eat animal products, because some people go out there and buy some steaks and literally take years off their life today, if I say that. Not to mention the whole beef industry is destroying the planet. But anyway, there's just not a whole lot I can say about this. I work with people privately on health. That's the only way to do it, is one-on-one. There's no generic advice I can give to anybody. I have to get to know the person and their situation, their history, their mindset, and all of that to help them with diet. But again, and I'll say this again, the vast majority of humans on this planet, their health would improve if they would go more plant-based than the way they currently eat. Okay? More plant-based. Most people need to move that direction for overall better health. Okay, enough said. That's all I can really say on that. It's a pretty general question. Much love to you. Next question. Rack pulls below or above the knee for lockout strength. The hardest part of the deadlift for me is the last few inches of the lift. Boy, that's a good question. And because I'm not a power lifter and I don't train for, the deadlift per se, the standard deadlift, I don't know the answer. Me personally, what comes to me intuitively, instinctively, is both. 1 week I would focus on the below the knee rack pull, a favorite of Dorian Yates and his awesome back development, and the next week I would focus on the above the knee rack pull. Because everybody's physiology is a little bit different. When you say the last few inches before lockout, I mean, you might want to watch your body in a mirror while you're doing a deadlift rep, and when you hit that hard spot, look where the bar is. Is it right below your knees? Then you know. Train below the knee. Is it above your knees? Is it equal to your knees when you hit your hardest point? That's how you figure out what you need to train personally, okay? The most. Much love. Next question. Is there a way that you know to raise IQ or overall intelligence? You know that image streaming thing somebody sent me on the last Q&A? Supposedly that's a way to increase intelligence. Now, I've been doing that naturally my whole life. I call it just using your third eye, but then I'm a metaphysical weirdo who goes way out there into things that modern mainstream human science isn't ready to recognize yet. But look up image streaming. I think it's something you'll connect with, Alexandria, because I know you. You're a friend. I know some of the things you're into, and I think you can definitely work with image streaming. I think it'll fit into some of the other things you're doing. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. I feel like it was meant to be that someone else mentioned that. You say, I know you can change genetics of muscle, but people make it seem like your genetics determine intelligence as well. I know they make it seem like that. I entirely do not agree. I've noticed that people who work their brain a lot, they get a lot smarter over time. And people that aren't motivated to work their brain, they only like to regurgitate information that someone else put there, they don't get smarter over time. So your brain, even though it's not literally built the same way muscle is, it's like any system in your body. Practice makes perfect. Practice strengthens it. Also, in my observation, there are many, many types of intelligence on this planet. And when man likes to play little games where he designs a certain IQ test and then tests people on things that certain groups have been educated on and certain groups haven't, and then he goes, oh, look, this group over here is lowest on the IQ spectrum because they have zero background being educated on the things that were going to be on that stupid IQ test. Personally, I say that the people making the IQ test don't have a high enough IQ to be making tests, period. It's rather self-defeating and ridiculous. I also believe that there's racist agendas behind shit like this that are just meant to stir people up against each other using false data and fake-ass bullshit experiments, bullshit intelligence tests that are completely rigged before the test even begins on who's going to score where on the test, and then we can inflame these stupid ideas and throw gas on a bunch of tension to keep people fighting with each other so they never unite and help each other out of financial slavery, out of belief system slavery. Yeah. So it ties into all that for me. But you are the creator of your own life. You are the changer of your own body. You are the changer of your own brain. The brain is a physical thing made of, various fatty acids and nerves and stuff. And you can change that the same way you can change muscles, okay? So it's the limiting beliefs that stop people from doing this. They never take control because they don't believe they can change these things because they were told they can't, which is a lie. Everyone can take responsibility and power over any part of their own life and change it. However they envision changing it, you absolutely can. So yes. Yes is my short answer. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there are binaurals that help with that also. That's something to look into. But I know that I become a lot more intelligent in certain ways just from using that part of my brain to think through things that other people don't bother thinking through. Okay? The fact that the human brain is like 95% unused by most people, that should tell us something right there. All right. Much love. Next question. All right, here it is. Favorite... Oh, wait a minute. World of Warcraft and lifting questions. Fun. Favorite zone to level in? As far as the leveling up process goes, I can blaze through Draenor like really fast, so that's probably my favorite. Do you like the Old Gods theme in World of Warcraft base of H.P. Lovecraft and your take on it? I kind of am a little bit familiar with what you're referring to. I'm not deep into all the lore and stuff, so I'm not going to say too much about that particular theme specifically, but one thing I like about that game is that it is absolutely chock full, littered full of archetypes that have to do with the Illuminati, archetypes that have to do with every secret society on this planet. It's basically all parables of real things. That's what that game is. So I find it, even all the symbology in the game, it like activates things in me just to meditate and see it sometimes. It makes me realize and remember certain things. So that's somewhat related to your question. You have a feeling I got the name Nether from World of Warcraft. Did you or did you not? Yeah, originally I came up with this idea. The name was Through the Never. And then before that day was over, the term Through the Twisting Nether kept coming to me. I was like, that's cool. And I went and Googled it. And one, not all of the definitions for the Nether, because Nether means underworld or below among most definitions, but one of them was the astral realm, to travel through the Nether, at least in the Warcraft sense, like what shamans do. And that's where I get a lot of the information I share with people anyway, so it was obviously rather appropriate, so I knew, go ahead and use that name, and I did. That's basic story on that. You said you play while doing other activities in an attempt to stay productive and not waste time. Yeah, it's just who I am. It's how I am. It's not that I'm worried. Sometimes I play just to play a little bit when I have time for that. I'm not one of these people who has a belief system where you're a piece of shit if you slow down to enjoy yourself for a second. I don't adhere to that. So there's nothing wrong with playing a game to play a game, especially if it's like good for you, relaxes you or anything like that. But most of the time, yeah, I'm playing a game. I'm answering questions on various channels. I'm emailing people back and forth. I'm sending them links and information. I'm working with my kids on their schoolwork. I can be doing half a dozen things while I'm at my desk. So, yeah, that's the way it goes. I'm listening to binaurals. Might as well take care of that, right? All right. Are you excited for the next expansion? Yes. I'm looking forward to those Zandalari trolls, man. Finally, some buff trolls that aren't skinny, anorexic, dead-looking stick people. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the new zones to explore. I love it when land gets added to the game. Entirely new worlds to explore. I just love that shit. It makes the world bigger. Okay, next question. You got quite a list here, bro. 8 questions. That's awesome. They're organized, too. There's another YouTube guy, or somebody kind of like you in the sense of fitness and separate metaphysical channel named Natural Gallant. Yeah, Gallant, however you pronounce that. Several of you guys have mentioned this guy to me. I had a look. I haven't really had time to check out the content over there yet, but I'm definitely planning on it. Sounds rather interesting. You think I'd enjoy some of the things he has to say, share some of the same philosophies regarding individuality and genetics, and when it comes to training and results. That said, would you say partials are a different way to tap into natural strength that would otherwise not get from conventional lifts? Yes! Awesome! This is a great topic. You're asking, does purposely using partial ranges of motions for certain lifts have the potential to help you build more strength or power than going full range in some cases? Yes, it absolutely does. The very best argument for this is watching Jay Cutler and Ronnie Coleman do presses, or even rows, really. Heavy ass weight, short range of motion, and the range of motion they stay in is not some accident. It's very much where they are at the strongest point in the rep. So they don't bother going to lockout because it's a waste of time and it takes tension off the muscle. Now this is from a bodybuilder perspective, not a power lifter. You need to practice your goddamn lockouts if you're going for a max on anything, obviously. But from a bodybuilding perspective, to keep the muscles in the range where they're under the most pressure and tension, not to bother locking out, not to bother going down and stretching and resting at the bottom, but to keep it right where you're at the strongest and just go as hard as you can for those heavy reps right there and then set that weight down. It's a productive way to train. Now again, it's not the very best way to train as far as having a max single rep, but it can add to that, especially. Now, I think all powerlifters know this. If you can identify a certain range where you're having trouble on a certain lift, like the earlier question about lockouts on a deadlift, if you know you have a weak spot in a certain range, that's the range you need to practice in as far as getting your max strength up so you can rep a heavier weight. But when it comes to just bodybuilding bigger muscles, yeah, if you'll stay in the range of an exercise where it keeps the most tension on the muscle fibers through the entire set, that can be a more productive way to bodybuild than going full reps. I hesitate to prescribe this idea to powerlifters though, because I really think, again, only if you're training within the range of motion where you're actually weak. That's the way a powerlifter should do it. But a bodybuilder, the more tonnage that you can put through the muscle in a shorter amount of time means more gains. So when you think about it, if you're repping a weight where you're keeping all the weight on the muscle and you're getting more reps before you're done, before you're setting it down, you're getting more done in that muscle for growth. So hopefully that explains it pretty well. What's my favorite partial lift? Well, I guess the rack pull, since it's considered a partial deadlift. I don't know, maybe it's considered a lift in and of its own. People have a bunch of weird rules about shit like that. Let me think of some others I like though. For building quads, okay, quads, not the entire leg, not your ass, but for building quads, partial squats are good. Also, partial hack squats are really good. For building, well, my personal favorite partial. Yeah, I gotta stick with variations of rack pulls. You can build a lot of beast grizzly muscle on your back, core. I even get rear delt gains just from doing above the knee rack pulls. So for me, I get a lot of bang for my buck for doing something that's like a 1-inch range of motion the way I do it sometimes, when I'm literally just getting the bar to come off and then I'm setting it back down. I get quite a bit of gains from that, and it's the shortest range of motion of anything anybody does, so I think I'm going to leave it at that. Have you ever tried the progressive range of motion method in your training for a certain lift? Yeah, a long time ago I did something that I believe is what you're describing there, and that's what I was kind of referring to for power lifters, working different ranges of a lift. You know, working the bottom range for a while, working the mid range, working the lockout range. I've done that kind of thing in the past, you know, to help with strength, like 1 rep max strength on a certain lift, and it definitely helped. Especially when you do have a very clear weak spot in your range of motion. If you don't, then you probably don't need that kind of training, but as soon as you identify a weak spot, you know, working in some training specifically in that range really makes sense as far as having your best numbers anyway. All right, thanks, may the force be with you. Well, it is my friend, and it's with you as well. Thank you very much, fellow Jedi. Here we go, next question. Tips for increasing shoulder mobility. I've been training for almost 2 years and my shoulder mobility is so bad that I can't overhead press. To me, it is a standing incline press. I've been trying different exercises for the past month and nothing seems to work. Thanks and have a good day. Okay, a couple things here, Michael. And you have a good day, and thank you as well. I highly suspect that one of your main issues here is that your lats are way too tight for overhead pressing. This is a common non-identified limitation that a lot of us have. So I'm going to advise you putting your hands together on a chin-up bar and just hanging as long as you can each time you go in to train. I would say do it while you're warm, when your body's hot, your blood temperature is high, so it'll stretch your lats harder. You'll find that a lot of the reason people can't overhead press, their lats are so tight, they're fighting themselves to even get into the position to do an overhead press. And then you have to fight tight lats all the way up. It's like you're already lifting weights before you even start lifting weights. So that's one thing to look into and seriously research, because that's one I was blind to for a long time myself, that was a limitation. That one's easy to not notice, to not figure out. Now, as far as shoulder mobility, again, check out Jeff Cavalier, Athlean X, external rotation exercises. One of the main problems people have, lack of shoulder mobility, is because they haven't been doing their external rotation all along, okay? So those are my 2 very serious suggestions that if you'll research and look into it, you can very much help yourself and get real shoulder mobility and be able to do real overhead presses, among other things, okay? Much love. Next question. What's your opinion on the Wim Hof breathing? Okay. Now I know I answered that, so I'm going to skip that one. How old were you? Okay, these are the ones I hit last time, I believe. So I'm going to skip to this one. Thoughts on helping a toddler with suspected candida overgrowth and diagnosed eczema. Yeah, eczema is usually caused by candida or yeast or something similar. Itchy skin is hindering his ability to sleep and thrive. Any diet or environmental tips are appreciated. Much love and awesome content. Well, since I recently made it clear that I'm going to do my best to comply by all laws so that I don't get shut down again or worse, technically I can't help anybody with their health, technically. So let's just talk about this from a theoretical friend perspective. When you say toddler, I'm assuming this kid's really little. If they're still in the milk drinking era of their life, key things here. Breast milk from mother is 100,000 million times better for any infant than anything you could buy that's man-made. Just putting it out there because that should be in this library for everybody to think about. If this toddler is drinking mom's milk, then we need to treat the situation through mom. We need to detox the mother's body. Now, I can't publicly start listing products or telling you all the different things to use without risking getting myself seriously red flagged again. So feel free to email me privately. There's a little more I could say. There's some ideas I could share that way. As a friend, not as a medical consultant. Please, no one send the SWAT team. So, yeah, that's about as much as I can say publicly. I'd really like for that child to not have that issue, though, so if you want to talk more privately, let me know. Much love. Next question. Would you say behind the back deadlifts and 45-degree hyperextensions are good enough to build good legs? Yeah, I would. Yeah, definitely. I've been doing calisthenics for my legs for a few years, and I've been going to a local private gym for 2 months now, the only gym in town, and that's all I do. I got 24.4-inch legs with a pump at 5'6", 36-inch long legs, short. Yeah, that is long. Short torso, long femurs. Leverages don't allow you to do regular squats. I just end up tweaking my shit because I'm folded over like a pancake due to the short torso. Yeah. Or my knees get too much pressure from squats, zerkers due to the length of my femurs. Even normal deadlifts feel awkward as fuck. Yeah. In fact, I think for most human beings, if they want to be honest, the normal deadlift is awkward as fuck. It's a completely inhuman, unnatural way to lift something. It's ridiculous to begin with. So don't feel bad about that. Much thanks for all your answers. You give me so much so far. It's really appreciated. Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad to be helpful to you in some ways. So the simple answer to your question, absolutely. I don't know if you've seen my video about abandoning the big three forever, but I wasn't kidding. I'm not going to do standard squats ever because I can always develop legs as good or better without squats, and I need the world to pull their head out of their ass and realize that. Same with deadlift. Same with normal bench, not doing it. I can come up with better exercises for either mass gain or strength gain or functional athletic ability than any of those standard 3 lifts provide for. So I know that 99 out of 100 sheep are going to tell you, bah, you got to squat or you're not a man, but they're sheep. They know nothing about it. So build your legs. Intensity to the muscle fibers is what matters at the end of the day, okay? Not imitating monkey see, monkey do what somebody else did. It's all about giving the message of intensity into the muscle fibers, and I don't care which exercises you can do it with. If you can put the intensity into those fibers, you're going to get gains. So absolutely, man. Use the exercises that you connect with, that you'll be able to use and progress and use heavy weight over the long term without being tweaked and set back and sitting on a couch injured all the time because you're doing crap that other self-proclaimed skinny fat experts tell you you're supposed to be doing. Much love. Next question. Alright, do you recall how much did you weigh before you started lifting? I think I answered this one, yeah. Did this on the last Q&A. Do you know any good ways to lower high blood pressure naturally through exercise and diet? Yes, I do. I lift, I do a good amount of conditioning and have relatively clean diet, but still have high blood pressure. Read more. Thanks and keep up the great content. Well, you're welcome. I intend to. Much love. Right off the top of my head, get into garlic and onions, man. Raw garlic and onions, if you can learn to chew up a little bit with meals and swallow it, cleans the plaque, it creates more nitric oxide, it opens up and relaxes veins, it breaks down all kinds of deposits of shit and gets everything flowing better in the body. Omega-3s, I don't know if you're getting your essential omega-3s, so a good quality flax oil. Some people will go for fish oil instead. A good quality omega-3 is highly recommended for circulation, keeping inflammation and pressure down. Check out your salt intake. See if you're taking in refined. Now again, like alluded to in the last Q&A, there's an infinite difference between real salt from the earth and bullshit industrial byproduct pure sodium, which is what most people are eating as table salt, and it's killing them. So check for that. Make sure there's not refined sodium littering your diet. I won't tell you not to eat real salt. I would say get yourself some real salt, some pink Himalayan salt or some Celtic sea salt or something else that's confirmed to be a real salt from the earth with all the minerals it's supposed to have. I'd advise everybody to take that, but just in case, check for sodium issues. Here's something I'm going to throw in here, and I'll probably do a whole video on this down the line. It is really cheap, and it is an invaluable tool for self-mastery for anybody to have to get a glucose meter and learn how to use it. It will teach you your own body. It will show you everything you eat, how your body is really reacting to it inside. Now, some of you are thinking, well, what's blood sugar got to do with blood pressure? Well, it has a lot to do with it. Any system in your body that's straining and struggling causes the others to not be able to balance themselves right either. And if you find out what you're eating is not metabolizing well in your body, then there's going to be a lot of leftover byproducts in your body that have more side effects. So, like I said, I'll do a video about this down the line. But for those with an ear to hear, word to the wise, get yourself a glucose meter and learn how to use it. You don't need to be diabetic to get a glucose meter, okay? Every athlete and anybody who gives a shit about their health should have a glucose meter. It's incredible what it'll teach you. So you're not guessing what different foods are doing to you. You can know for sure. Then you can get your diet and your eating under control and lean out and recomp easily because you know exactly what different foods do inside your body. So that might seem a little off topic, but like I said, raw garlic, raw onions, and feel free to Google the many, many awesome herbs that are out there that help lower high blood pressure and help your body regulate itself better. Guys, don't be afraid to get an organic herb. That will do nothing but improve your health. Okay? It's not like man-made medicine that rots your kidneys and liver. It doesn't. Okay? The natural healing herbs of the earth, they're living, intelligent things that work in harmony with your body. They're not man-made synthetic toxic drugs that tear through your body doing whatever they're going to do and couldn't give a shit less what your body says about it. There's a big difference in how those different things work. So that's my 2 cents on that. Thank you. Next question. Much love. Could you tell Alex from Alpha Destiny what your athletic background is? I understand not wanting to reveal to viewers, but Alex seems like a super trustworthy dude. So having him confirm that it exists without revealing to the public what it is seems to be the best of both worlds. This way you keep your privacy and we can concentrate on your content without the distraction of unsubstantiated allusions to other prowess. Okay, you know what? I don't live with Alex, and I'm not a little girl who goes to the bathroom with other little girls and we whisper our little secrets to each other and then somebody, giggles at you over their shoulder and maybe tells you and maybe they don't. I don't even know what the hell this is you've just written here, man. This is ridiculous. So let me squash this retarded shit for good. I am sorry that I ever mentioned that I'm a professional athlete. This discussion is over. From now on, we're going to play it that I'm not a professional athlete. In fact, I'm not even real. What I am, I'm a figment of your collective imaginations that you invented from your subconscious to show you what it is to have confidence and creativity and not give a shit what anybody thinks and do things that are considered impossible. But really, guys, I'm just an avatar of your own minds. I don't even really exist. So let's stop talking about what my fucking athletic career is, okay? Never happened. There is none. Forget about it. I'm not an athlete. I'm not even real. I'm a virtual creation of your own minds. here to guru you into self-empowering yourself, okay? Hopefully that settles that shit, because this weird go whisper to so-and-so and then they giggle and you tell through the grape. Do you think, like, also, do you not think, like, Alex has real things to do with his time? You think I'm going to call this guy up in Canada who's obviously a busy, self-motivated, productive dude and be like, hey, I want to tell you a little secret and have you confirm it so the girls will like me more? Guys, what the hell? No, come on, man. Forget it. I'm not an athlete, okay? No athlete here. I'm an imaginary virtual character here to help you empower yourself. So that discussion's over now, guys. And there won't be any little run into the telling so-so and whispering and little fucking whatever we're talking about here. Man, I'm sorry to get a little bent out of shape, but that is so... That just reminds me of girls going to the bathroom together in junior high. I don't understand what that has to do with me here and now. And if you don't believe I'm a professional athlete, good. Don't believe it, guys. I'm not. Okay? Never happened. That was all a false rumor. Okay? I'm not a pro athlete, so you can quit worrying about that. All right? Just focus on the content here. That's how we'll focus on the content here, is by focusing on the content here, not by starting more weird convoluted rumors and little games. I couldn't give a shit less who believes out there I'm an athlete or not. I actually, just like I said, I regret I ever mentioned it. Because apparently I'm going to have a never... I haven't even said what it is, and you guys are already making it a distraction. Some of you are. Okay? So it's over. I'm not an athlete. Don't ever ask me again. Nobody. Okay? I'm not a pro athlete. Moving on. No more fucking stupid distractions here. When is the best time to take supplements like spirulina, turmeric, and other herbs like this? With food or on an empty stomach? I know you talked about it before, but thanks and greetings from the Czech Republic. Pretty sure I answered that one last time, so I'm going to move on. Pain tolerance. Yeah, we went over that one. Health question. Guys, I can only work with you privately on health questions, or I'll get shut down or worse. I'm scrolling through ones I answered last time. Bear with me for a second. What is your thoughts on increasing height naturally? Do you believe it's possible for someone to increase their height 1 or 2 inches, especially if the person is under 20 years old? Yeah, how in the world could you not believe that's possible? Of course that's possible. You know, give me a challenge here, guys. Ask me if it's possible when you're 38, and I'll still tell you yes. But yeah, when you're not even 20 yet, your growth plates probably aren't even sealed yet. So yeah, I grew taller till I was like 22. So if you'll allow your mind to be open to it, use some, look around and find some height increase binaurals to listen to daily, something you like the sound of that's relaxing. You might want to look into all the stretching exercises, all the bone impact exercises that different people theorize help you to grow taller. Nutritionally, I would recommend high-dose vitamin K2 and high-dose vitamin D3 taken with oils, as well as extra magnesium in your diet taken with a meal. And while you're at it, take some iodine so you're not mutilated by radiation. Basically, my whole supplement stack that's listed under the high testosterone video I recommend. But starting with those ones, the K2 and the D3, especially the K2, it's missing from modern diets, and it has a lot to do with developing your bone structure completely. So research that, my friend. Much love. Thoughts on Varg Vikernes? My thoughts are, I like the name. VV sounds very Viking. But if he's a Viking, it's probably like Warg Vikernes or something, right? But I don't know who that is. Somebody replied here. Somebody's asking about building lats. So I don't know who that is. So that's my thoughts. I'm not really the guy to go for the what do you think about so-and-so, you know? I do not spend any time looking around at the characters out there in the world to comment on them. Now, don't take this the wrong way because I'm not saying this is you, but there's this old saying out there. It's something like, small-minded people focus on what others are doing. Ah, shit. I forgot the whole quote. Never mind. something about something that sounded really cool, but now I just sound like an idiot because I forgot it. Half my brain didn't wake up today, so forgive me. Yeah, I have nothing smart to say. That's my answer. Put that in the timestamp. What's your favorite folk metal band? You know, I don't know their names off the top of my head because I just started listening, really. I do recognize the one you've listed here, although I can't pronounce it. Corpiclani or something. I know that's one of the ones I like because I recognize the name, but yeah, I'm not into it yet enough to know them by name. So, but like you say, I do listen to it sometimes now working out. I like that. I'm liking that music more. So down the line, I might have some actual opinions on band preferences. Thank you. Next question. What are your favorite fictional characters? Do you have any preferred superheroes? Well, when I was a kid, I really loved Dino Riders and Ghostbusters. Those were kind of my... and Dino Riders, Ghostbusters, and Ninja Turtles. Those are my favorite fictional characters. These days, I don't really think about comic books or superheroes. I was never really the comic book guy. But off of the ones off the top of my head I am aware of, you know, I kind of like the Hulk. The Hulk's kind of cool, you know, except, you know, the dude would be naked, right? Like every time he changes, he'd be laying around naked. It's silly. Or he'd be this big naked green guy running around with his big naked green junk swinging everywhere. But in the movies, they have these pants that can stretch to the size of a tank for some reason. Maybe he wears stretch pants. I don't know. Anyway, that's a totally almost irrelevant answer, isn't it? It says, I get my motivation from fictional characters of unworldly feats of strength, like benching the whole weight of the earth for 5 days straight, like Superman did. Nice! That puts my last chest workout to shame. Do you have someone motivating you to push further in your training? Do you consider this a childish question? No, not really. No, because how do I answer this? It's not really that I have fictional superhero characters that I follow. I actually believe in a lot of things that most humans don't. So for me, when I'm accessing more of my real self or what I can be, for me it's not even a pretend thing. You know, I don't even have to tell myself that it's a pretend thing anymore. It's a real thing. I believe in changing DNA. I believe that most of what's possible to humans is asleep and just not used for anything. I believe we're a hell of a lot more than most people are ready to even begin to scratch the surface of. And I believe because I'm aware of that, and life's boring if I don't pursue it, I believe it's my job to go there. So I'm kind of becoming my own, you know, comic book character in a sense. I guess that's my answer to that. Now, I could say some more things that get really metaphysical, but if you want to ask this question over on my metaphysical channel, I would have more to say. There'd be more that I could elaborate on there, but, you know, for now, for a basic answer coming from me, I'd say that's how I see that. That's how I'm experiencing that personally. There was a long time when I looked at Conan, in the Conan movies, as my physique model. And it may have taken a long time, but my body did take on a lot more of that structure just from visualizing that as an example, okay? Just throwing that in there for who it helps. Okay, thank you. And next question. How can I make my knees stop popping? They make a popping noise every time I squat with any weight, and directly warming them up doesn't seem to help either. It doesn't hurt, but it's goddamn annoying. Yeah, what I believe that is air bubbles, and something in the shape of your knee joint, as it goes through its range of motion, it's trapping, like, look right here, pretend there's a pocket, it's trapping a bit of an air bubble, and then as it moves out the other side, the air pops out the other side, and the click you hear is when the air escapes, it actually lifts the joint a tiny bit, and then it pops back down on the socket, so it's actually like a banging. The air escapes and it goes bang, right back into place. That's that little crack you're hearing. So it's trapping air and it's popping it out the other side and causing a click and a pop. For most people, this will never cause a problem, so it's probably not something to worry about. However, if you're really determined to do something about this, the ancient Ayurvedic systems of medicine divide everything into elements: fire, earth, air, water. And one of the things about having your air element, I think they call that vata? No. Yeah, vata? I don't know, don't quote me. Ayurvedic, ancient Ayurvedic systems of medicine from India. Possibly Asia as well. Maybe India is considered part of Asia. I don't know. I don't know all the technicalities, but the Ayurvedic system of healing divides things into elements, and they show you how to increase or decrease any of those elements in your body. And they'll say that if you have, for example, joints that pop a lot, you're probably too high on air element. So you can actually change your elemental balance in your body if you're interested in going that route with it. Not to mention the plethora of wisdom of healing and so forth that's available in that lost system, or that system that fortunately isn't completely forgotten yet. It could be very rewarding and empowering to study. So that's where I would point you to have a look if you're really interested in changing that. Much love. Next question. Are deload weeks necessary for a novice? How do you properly go about a deload week? Well, nothing's really necessary for anyone, so you tell me. Furthermore, when you say how do you properly go about a deload week, well, I've never properly gone about a deload week because I don't know technically exactly what that's referring to. It sounds like something to do with going a bit lighter to keep your gains so far in sort of an active recovery type manner, but actually build up some energy. Now, instinctively, I do things like that, but not for a week. There's nothing magic about 7 days that I have to slice my life to fit into these random, arbitrary 7-day cycles. So for me, I'll do a couple of light days here and there, and when I feel charged up, I hit it again. So I don't have a proper deload week. I'm not even sure technically exactly what that is referring to. But I'll tell you this, common sense knowledge. Is it necessary for a novice? No. What if you're the novice who has better recovery than all the other novices? What if you could handle twice as much volume as you're doing right now? Now, I'm not saying that's you. I'm just saying, what if? I don't know. Just because you haven't been lifting weights very long, I have no idea what your genetics are like, your metabolism, your recovery, your mindset, I don't know any of that stuff. So the simple answer, is a deload week automatically necessary for a novice? No. Would it help most of them? Probably. Especially since when you say you're a novice, you're implying that you're not really confident in your own knowledge about, progression, strength, bodybuilding, this kind of thing. So yeah, doing a proper deload week, whatever that is, however that's written into your program or wherever you can look that up, it's probably a good idea. The net result will probably be having a much more productive set of personal bests after you do that. So that's my 2 cents. Much love, friend. Next question. Here's a question about cancer, and as I alluded to in the reply, you gotta hit me up privately about stuff like that. I really cannot talk publicly about those things. I do know people who were diagnosed with 6 months to live and are now doing great 8 years later, better than they were before. I know them personally. I've been a part of that process. I dare not say more. Wouldn't want to threaten the mad prophets of the medical industry. So much love to you and your family members and whatever they're dealing with, and I am here for you privately, just so you know. Wink, wink. Moving on. Can you talk about the disease you were born with? Sure. I was born with Hirschsprung's disease, it's called. And what that is where, now I'm not sure all cases of it are the same, but in my case, it was where part of my large intestine did not develop nerves. There was no nerves in it. So what that means is you will die from constipation, basically, if you have it bad enough. And I did. I had one of the worst cases they'd seen up to that point. There was like 18 inches of my large intestine that it was dead. So they didn't know that at first, but they could tell something was wrong with this baby. So they figured it out, and they did a surgery. I died during the surgery because it's very difficult with infants to control the anesthesia. Different infants' bodies are going to overreact or underreact to the drugs they use to put you down. And I was one of those ones that was sensitive to it, so I left my body. I still remember a good deal of that. It changed my life. It changed my parents' lives forever. When my mom realized from the things I was drawing or telling her that I had died, and she went back and pressured the surgeons and they admitted it, she knew something had been weird because a film crew showed up to film my surgery because it was a rare surgery being done by a very advanced surgeon at the time. And the film crew went running out of the building 10, 20 minutes into the surgery and wouldn't say a thing to my mom. They wouldn't even look at her. They just ran for their lives and disappeared. So she already had reason to suspect something had happened in there. But they played it down like everything went fine after the surgery because they got me back. And I was drawing a lot of pictures as a kid. Now I can go into that further on the Metaphysical channel. I don't want to ruffle feathers and push meatheads away on this channel, so I'm not going to say any more than that. But they told my mother that when you're born with Hirschsprung's disease, you will always grow up to be a very wimpy, very feeble, very scrawny, very sickly, weak human being. That's what I was told. That's what she was told would be my life. And the other kids from that diagnosis did grow up to be just that, self-fulfilling prophecies. And I became the exact opposite of that because being weak and feeble is not my thing. Sorry. So yeah, this is another perfect example of what you think becomes your reality. You're creating your reality. This is one of the big grand metaphysical truths that humanity hasn't been mature enough to pick up yet, but everyone creates their own reality from some level of their own consciousness. So I accept the diseases I was born with. I accept the imbalances I brought with me to work on. I accept the empowerment that's come through that, and I highly suspect that it was on purpose, that I gave myself that disease at birth, because I've personally dealt with people, for example, who come to me for health counseling privately, and I share with them what they can do, and then they come back and attack me with, well, that won't work and you don't know what it's like, you piece of shit that takes everything for granted. Having no fucking idea that I was born with way worse conditions than they were, they rip my fucking head off and tell me that I don't know what it's like, blah, blah, blah. So clearly, in this world, if you want to be able to help these assholes, you have to have been through worse shit yourself than they have, or they won't even listen, right? The same way none of you, let's be honest here, none of you would be listening to me about anything to do with bodybuilding if I wasn't the biggest, strongest, most jacked natural you'd ever seen. Be honest, because I'm not the first person that came to teach this stuff, but I'm the first one that looked this way, so you guys actually listened, okay? I could be teaching all this stuff with a mediocre body, and there'd be 5 people on this channel, and that's all there would ever be, because nobody would give a shit. It wouldn't matter how brilliant the information is if you can't show people. So, same with disease. I was born too sickly to live. If you want to study Hirschsprung's disease and look at the way most people live their lives that have that, completely unacceptable to me. I'd rather be dead. So I evolved myself in a completely different way. And this just, goes to show what I am here for in this world. I'm here to show this world that if you accept what you're told, that's your reality, however shitty it is. And if you decide for yourself something different, that's your reality, whatever it is. So awesome question. Thank you, man. Awesome question, Warhorde. Alright. And then you say you found me on the internet. You don't want to reveal... I don't want my name revealed. That's true. If you really found me, please don't. Please don't. Please don't. Okay? Because honestly, if this channel becomes drama about that, you guys may be saying goodbye to me a second time. I'm not going to waste my time. If people can't pay attention to what I'm here to give them anymore, this is over. So please don't. Like I said, I'm not a pro athlete. That's all fictional. Forget about it. Okay? That's just between you and me. All right? Wink, wink. Moving on. Thank you, my friend. In your opinion, what's the most important factor that promotes muscle growth? Diet, nutrition, mindset, etc. The most important single factor controlling muscle growth. Conviction. If I had to give you one word, that if you measured all the different attributes of all the different people that ever pick up a weight, And which attribute being the biggest do I think is going to get the person the furthest? Conviction. It's not about your genetics. It's not about how perfectly you eat. Now, ideally, you should be improving on that always. The way you train, the way you eat, the way you think. You should be improving all these things all the time, because why not? That's what life is for. But the conviction, the willpower, the groundedness to know, I am doing this. I am setting my mind to this. I will find a way to get from here to there. The conviction that you're doing it, knowing you're going to, knowing it's as good as done, because you're that grounded and you're that strong in your willpower and your conviction. So to sum it up with one word, this goes for a lot of things in life: conviction. Now, out of the choices you gave me, let's just take those: diet, nutrition, mindset, and let's throw training in there, because those are three big legs of the table, right? You got your nutrition, you got your mindset, you got your training. I'll take mindset out of those three, because the mind is the builder of everything else. Your mindset's going to determine how you do your nutrition. It's going to determine how you do your training. So if you have a shit mindset, it doesn't even matter if Mr. Olympia gave you the best workouts and all the right drugs that he even takes. You'll still be shit because you don't have the right mindset. So without the mind, the rest of it don't amount to a hill of beans, really. So yeah, I'll take mind next, because the mind, again, it's going to control what you do with your diet and nutrition. Your mind's going to empower you. Your mind's going to be the builder of the rest of the whole thing, the way it plays out, right? So that's my 2 cents. Much love. Can you talk about... Oh, we already did that one. Tips for anti-aging. Well, I guess I could just list a couple tips. Intermittent fasting, or some kind of fasting practice. Getting a glucose meter and learning what your blood sugar is doing, because high blood sugar is destroying the proteins in your body, giving you wrinkles and shitty organs and broken down glands. Blood sugar control, that's huge. Don't glycate your body. What else? Adaptogenic herbs. Adaptogenic herbs to tune everything in you, so your own immune system, for example, isn't beating you up, so you're not destroying yourself from the inside. Mindset. Now this, you got to go to the metaphysical channel to really get into this, but let's suffice it to say, your cells are listening to you, and if you expect to be aging and breaking down and falling apart, they're making it happen for you. They're making it come true. And if you visualize yourself becoming more vital and alive, and that's the way you feel yourself and see yourself going, then you are. And it really is that simple. Now, granted, that's easier said than done in a world of collectively shared ideas that defeat that idea. You're taught in this world that the human body does this meaningless thing called aging, which no one's been able to show there even is such a thing, because there isn't. And you highly believe that, and you should have certain expectations in you about what you're going to look like or feel like at what certain age, and then you allow those numbers to dictate your reality. Honestly, people would be better off forgetting their birthday, forgetting there even is such a thing, forgetting to count years and expect that they're breaking you down. Then you could become stronger with time if that was your belief system instead of weaker. That's enough said here. I can't get too metaphysical on this channel. But those are a few tips for you. Somewhere to get started. Much love. Next question. You reject the conventional 3, and for good reason. What core lifts would you recommend for a beginner, less than 1 year of training, to build a foundation of strength in order to build a functional and aesthetic body? Sure. If you're not going to use the basic conventional big 3, but you still are looking for some things to kind of fill those holes, man, if you have access to a trap bar, the trap bar deadlift, that is a great lift for anybody. Athlete or not, bodybuilder or not, powerlifter or not. You can't go wrong with a trap bar deadlift. It's a much more natural, balanced way for the body to lift something. Overall, you're going to be able to go heavier, more volume, more frequency with less injuries and get better gains. It builds very functional strength the same way a deadlift does, except in a more functional movement pattern in your body. So my biggest and best suggestion to replace the deadlift is a trap bar deadlift. If you don't have access to that, start teaching yourself Jefferson deadlifts with a standard bar. Don't go heavy at first. Go light at first and just get some training sessions in to where your body becomes balanced and comfortable with that lift. and then start adding weight. As far as squats, how to replace conventional squats. Now it depends what your goals are. Let's say you're just a bodybuilder and you just want the leg gains and mass. You can build every bit the legs on a leg press you can on a squat, even better if you do it right. Professional bodybuilders have proven this. Now, not knowing what your goals are, let's say you have athletic goals, so the leg press isn't the ultimate thing for legs. I would do Jefferson lifts, but I would keep my back upright. I would also use what I call weighted terminal knee extensions. Go to the Nether exercises and demo videos playlist that I got on here on the fitness channel, and look at the unique leg training videos to get some ideas there. Look at the whack job quad training video. Yeah, just look through that playlist and you'll get some interesting ideas on the kind of stuff I use for legs. Now, people have commented and criticized my legs as being small compared to my upper body, but like I pointed out before, I started this channel at a point when my legs were shrunken from taking time off from knee problems, and now I'm building them back in private. I'm not really showing that because I want, when I do reveal my leg gains, I want it to be pretty cool and obvious and possibly even startling. So I'm working on that in private, but trust me when I tell you, I've had 29-inch legs with amazing quads. I do know how to build legs. I'll show it soon enough. But yes, you can use the leg exercises that I use and build any amount of leg muscle you want. You don't need conventional squats, okay? Furthermore, most of the leg exercises you'll see me using are better for athletes, okay, functionally in the long run. Nothing wrong with standard squats. It's a good move, but it's not. The fact that people preach it like a religion, like it's the most important thing, that's what turns me off. It's not that squats are a lame exercise. They're pretty good for most people. But when you put it on a pedestal that causes you to be blind to all the other things you're missing out on, that's when I have to fire a rocket launcher at that pedestal to make room for humanity to pull their head out of their butt and wake up to a whole lot of things, a whole lot of opportunities that they're not taking advantage of because they've corralled their minds into a tiny little box and they're not looking any further. So, that's my 2 cents. Moving on. Good question. Thank you. How to make your homemade teeth whiter paste without destroying your enamel. Now, my wife makes us toothpaste, so I don't know the formula off the top of my head, but I know where she learned a good one. The Weston A. Price Foundation. Look up Weston A. Price thread forums, how to make your own healthy toothpaste. There are people involved with Weston A. Price's nutritional studies who also understand how to regenerate bones. This is where I got a lot of my info about vitamin K2. But if you look up forums and threads dedicated to Weston A. Price information, and you Google in there how to make your own homemade healthy toothpaste, you'll definitely find good information. I just don't know the formula off the top of my head because I don't make it. I know some of the ingredients, but I'm not going to get into that. Just look it up. It's easy to do. It's very easy to do. Okay, thank you. Next question. Okay, opinions on Donald Trump. Well, now this is never going to be a politics channel because I couldn't give a shit less about politics. I believe that you can't solve problems at the level of thinking that created them. Therefore, politics are never going to solve anything. They're only going to make it worse. Donald Trump, however, he's not even a politician. He's a super successful businessman with an alpha mindset. And because he exists outside politics and he didn't grow up being prepared for that, he's not susceptible. Oh, also because he's got more money than any of them, he's not being bought off the same way that most people who get into office are. So I think it's a serious advantage. I think, I'm not saying Donald Trump is somebody I would necessarily get along with or anything like that, but I'm saying that because he's really not a politician and he has so much money he can't be bought, I think the United States got lucky, in a sense. I think the man's making some actual improvements to this country because he's not a fucking politician. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's not a fucking politician, so he might accidentally somehow manage to make a few improvements to the United States, maybe financially if nothing else, which would be nice. Because there hasn't been anybody else in office for a long time that was anything other than a political parasite, a puppet that was put there with false agendas that just lead this country further down its destruction. So anyway, it's my opinion. I don't get into politics much, but I think it's pretty cool to have a president who isn't even a politician. At least it's something different. At least there might actually be something happen that could be an actual improvement for once. All right. I've often said if I had a company that made bumper stickers, the first bumper sticker I would make would say, "I don't vote for politicians." Anyway, next question. Much love. Which supplements on your high testosterone video are most important for health? That's a cool question. I don't have the money to buy all of them right now, so which ones to start with? Yeah, the iodine would be number one, and then I'd say the methyl B12. If you could only get two that are affordable and that will cover a lot of your bases that are really important, I'd start there. The iodine because, again, more than 2,600 nuclear fucking bombs have been detonated on this planet now inside our atmosphere. Not even in wars. Just out of pure stupidity. Like it wasn't enough to study it a couple times. We have to radiate the shit out of our planet 2,600 times. And that shit's all trapped within this atmosphere, bouncing around for probably millions of years now. So, guys, protect yourself. I use Lugol's 2%. I prescribe people. I don't prescribe because I'm not prescribing anything. I'm not a medical professional. As a friend, I tell people you might want to start with maybe 5 drops a day. Now, I've done everything from 1 drop to 50 drops a day. Iodine is safe. It's nothing to be afraid of. But if you go really high on the dose, you can get some pretty strong detox symptoms. So I just tell people, you take 5 drops a day, at least you're more than covered. You're protected from radiation. Your glands can continue to function. The methyl B12, get methyl B12. I know there's all kinds of assholes out there who will tell you it doesn't matter. They're fucking wrong, okay? People use methylated B12, not the other toxic forms of B12. Now, you can do what you want, but I'm just telling you the truth because I care. So if you can only get 2 of those that are pretty affordable, most people are deficient in B12, not just vegans. This applies to everybody. It's propaganda that tries to say it's just the vegans. So yeah, I would start with those 2 if nothing else. And then in order of importance from there, next I'd probably go with the... Personally, I'd go with the vitamin K2 before I'd even go with the vitamin D3. So I'd go K2, then D3, then magnesium, then zinc, in order of importance, based on what I've seen most people suffering the most from, okay? All right. Much love. Good question. Next question. Opinion on Cole from the Snake Diet YouTube channel. He promotes healing and fat loss by water and dry fasting. He's also a powerlifter. Don't know, never seen the guy. Sounds cool. I don't randomly recommend dry fasting or water fasting to just anybody because, like I said before, there's people that are so nutritionally depleted and weak right now that if I put them on a water fast, we might lose them, okay? So, that's not funny. I'm not laughing like that's funny. I'm laughing because I laugh when I'm nervous because it's a serious topic. Yeah, so certain people that I work with, it's like, no, we're going to build up all your electrolytes first and get you consuming electrolytes in forms you digest well before we even start fasting. Because even on a water fast, I'm going to include electrolytes for most people. There's no benefit to fasting when it comes to running out of electrolytes. Like, that's not going to help your fast. So anyway, those are a few thoughts I have about water fasting or dry fasting. Dry fasting I've never done personally. I'm not sure what the big advantage is supposed to be. But anytime you take away all the other activities a body's doing and just cause it to focus on correcting its own genetic mistakes, you might say, there's going to be certain advantages to that. Now, again, though, a dry fast, that could be dangerous. Some people could be dehydrated. They could have kidney issues. You could lose them on a dry fast. So I wouldn't go randomly recommending them to the general public. But there are definitely cases with certain individuals where either one of those types of fasting, I've heard very good healing stories and so forth. So definitely legitimate means of healing. To me, it depends on the situation as to what kind of fast or not you might want to work with an individual on, depending on what their health situation is. But yeah, that's my 2 cents. I don't know about that individual. Cool question, though. Next question. Can you... Oh, I already did that one. There's another question of can you grow taller after 21? Yes, I've done this. In my early to mid 30s, I listened to a subliminal. This was actually a deep trance hypnosis CD that kind of puts you out of it if you let yourself, and then it wakes you up at the end and you don't even consciously remember being hypnotized. And when you allow it to work, it actually works. I didn't think I could be hypnotized, but because it was a CD, I purposely relaxed my best and let it hypnotize me, and it actually worked. And I gained an inch over 6 months or something. And the way life was going, I lost my consistency and stopped listening to it, misplaced it, and then decided it wasn't that big a deal anyway. I'm pretty damn tall, so I haven't continued on with that. But I also read accounts of different people who had worked to different degrees. This definitely has to do with your deeply ingrained beliefs. The person that it worked the best for that I was aware of, I believe he was autistic, or I can't remember if it was autism or Down syndrome, but this one guy, because he had no filter in his mind to believe that normally you can't grow taller when you're in your 30s. I don't remember the story as to why this guy started listening to these hypnosis recordings, but he grew like 6 inches, okay, in his late 30s, because in his mind, the way his mind was different, he never was able to even pick up on the idea that, you're not supposed to grow past a certain age or whatever. That didn't even exist to him. So for him, it was easy for these CDs to get him growing again. For different people, they found that it took a different amount of time to start getting results. But everyone, sooner or later, by allowing the hypnotic suggestions in the CD to change the way your own subconscious thinks and believes, when the resistance gets low enough, it is very possible to grow taller again. Yes. Now, this goes really into the metaphysical stuff, and that's really all I can say here. But that's a general 2 cents sharing of my history of that. Yes, it's possible, my friend. Power of the mind, okay? Transcending the normal limited beliefs that govern people's reality. It's the same way you do anything exceptional that people say you can't do. And everybody that ever did so was told they couldn't by everybody around them, and they went ahead and did it anyway. All right. Much love. Awesome question. Next question. It is said that the stronger you get, the bigger you will get. I get stronger, but I don't get any bigger. Well, of course, that phrase is very much a generalization. As I've alluded to before, there's times where the way I was training, my 1 rep maxes on whatever I was training was going up, but my size was going down because it was low volume training. It was very power based. My diet was lean at the time. And so I would get better at those 1 rep maxes, but I'd be losing weight, drying out, and kind of hardening up. So that statement is a very huge generalization. Also, I believe it was Dorian Yates or somebody in the HIT leadership crowd. Sam and I were talking about this a while back. Can't remember if he was telling me it was Dorian or what, but maybe it was Mike Menser. Yeah. Someone like that was alluding to the fact that they noticed that many people who trained with HIT would get stronger and stronger and stronger for a while without gaining any size. And then all of a sudden, their body would just shift into a different mode and they'd finally gain some size. Like sort of, this would happen in spurts. So they'd go for a long time just getting stronger, not gaining anything on the scale. And then all of a sudden their body would decide, okay, I'm strong enough now, I need to put on 10 new pounds or something. And then in a short time they'd put on new muscle. So he said it was coming in spurts like that, not steady, consistent, easy to measure, the size gains. That's something to consider. At a certain point, if you get strong enough, your body's going to have to get bigger, okay? You're not going to be curling 500 pounds with one bicep with a 13-inch arm. because that would tear your 13-inch arm off, right? That's probably a really silly example, but you get the general idea. I mean, at some point, you get strong enough, your body is going to decide to go ahead and add some size. Now, if your body's resisting that, what that tells you is you're a very pound for pound strong person. You have a very athletic, strong pound for pound body, a body that's able to gain quite a bit of strength without getting bigger. This is not a disadvantage. Now, when you're comparing yourself to other bodybuilders and you're wanting to gain mass, it seems like a disadvantage at times like that. But in an evolutionary pound for pound, what kind of an organism you are, this is actually a good sign. It means that you're built really damn strong for your size. You're athletic, you're powerful. If you don't give up and if you keep progressing different ways, you will get bigger over time. And pound for pound, you're going to be one really solid mofo. So there's nothing wrong with that. Also, if you're more on the ectomorphic or the leaner side, ectomorphs, when they gain 5 pounds of muscle, it looks like 30 pounds of muscle because of how lean and how awesome it looks and how artistic. A guy like my size, I can gain 5 pounds of muscle and nobody notices at all, because it doesn't appear to be much difference, depending on where I put it. If I put all 5 pounds in my shoulders, you're going to notice, right? But 5 pounds divided over my whole body, it's like, I don't even notice when that happens. It's like a fluctuation in water. So what I'm saying here is there's pluses and minuses to every different body type, and usually human beings are always looking on the other side of the pasture saying, I wish I was that type instead of this type. And this goes to every category in life, Curly-haired people want straight hair. Straight-haired people want curly hair. Tall, skinny guys want to be short and thick, and short, thick guys want to be tall and skinny. And I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm just saying that a lot of human nature is always looking on the other, thinking the grass is greener on the other side, but it's not. The grass is just different on the other side. It's not greener. So in the end, just know that you will get bigger if you keep gaining strength. There are other ways to train that are more hypertrophy based. You could try some different training systems. Whatever you're using now is obviously very pound for pound power based, or at least that's the way that it's affecting you. So you can try a very different type of training system. Depending on where you're at with all that and what you're willing to do, you might want to do some nucleus overload. Now, you don't have to stop and do just full body nucleus overload for a year and a half like I did. I know there's almost nobody that would do something like that. But what you could do is take one muscle group and nucleus overload, train it every day for a month or two, and then go back to standard training on that and switch to a different muscle to start doing your nucleus overload every day for a month or two. That way you can do mostly the training you like doing, but one muscle group at a time. You can start adding nucleus cells into a muscle so that when you go back to your more standard training, you will notice new gains in that area, okay? Those are just a few thoughts, a few ideas you can work with if you want to. Much love, good question. Next question. Thoughts on heavy weighted lunges and their benefits? Yeah, for athletes, I think they're really beneficial. Now, some bodybuilders, like, who was it? I think it was Dorian Yates. He said, lunges are a waste of time for bodybuilding because they're kind of a half-ass butt workout, a half-ass hamstring workout, a half-ass quad workout. I don't entirely disagree with him, although I see normal squats the same way. It's just you're not really overly focusing on any of those muscles. You're kind of hitting them all. But the difference between normal squats and weighted lunges is weighted lunges make you a better athlete. Normal squats will make you a better athlete to some degree, but weighted lunges much more so. Because you have to balance, you have to coordinate, you have to control your muscles, tendons, and connective tissues as that weight is swinging and moving through space. And another just personal anecdote. When I look back through all the crazy workouts I've ever done in my entire life, and all the record-holding delayed onset muscle soreness that I've ever faced, I can tell you this, the three top record-holding situations where I had the worst delayed onset muscle soreness I've ever had always came from weighted lunges. I remember one time, I don't know what I was thinking, because this is what I do. I don't do weighted lunges forever, and then one day I get a hair up my ass, and I overdo it on weighted lunges, and I get so sore I can't even sit on a toilet for like 3 weeks without tears coming to my eyes, okay? For example, one time I took 220-pound dumbbells and just went outside and did weighted lunges till I fell over. And again, I wasn't trained at weighted lunges at the time. My ass and hamstrings hurt so bad for so long, it was almost scary. I think it was a month until I wasn't sore. Why I'm sharing that, I don't know, but I feel that weighted lunges, at least for me, can dig into the hamstrings and the glutes. And you can kind of control based on your angle of lean which they're hitting harder. I tend to try to aim for hamstrings more and glutes less because I'm not looking for the big gorilla ass. Nothing against that. Some people want that, go for it. But yeah, I tend to aim a little more for the hamstrings with them. But yeah, I think they're an amazing exercise. Let's take wrestlers and grapplers, for example. The way you do a takedown when you shoot on somebody, it's a fucking weighted lunge. That's what it is. You're weight lunging up underneath somebody and sweeping them off their feet. So what way to be a better athlete than to be really good at weighted lunges? If you do them explosively, they're building your sprinting and jumping power. And to say you can't build muscle with them is crazy. You can build all kinds of muscle with them. You can do them downhill. You can do them uphill. When you go downhill, your quads get trashed harder. When you go uphill, your ass and your hams get trashed harder. You know, if you have access to an outdoor place to do weighted lunges. Me personally, I think weighted lunges are much better done outdoors just so you can take advantage of uphill and downhill. So that's the way I like to do it. Here and there, just to shock the muscles. In fact, last weekend I did weighted lunges and it had been a long time since I did them before that. So that gets me results. It gets me gains in my legs. It gets me nice athletic training, balance, coordination, flexibility. It's a lot of bang for the buck. So I think they're underrated, weighted lunges overall. Much love. Next question. How are you able to recover from very high volume training? Do you think it's mostly genetics or dietary related? Did your nucleus overload training help? Awesome questions. It's part both. It's part genetics. It's part diet. Sam or Neil, being that we have quite different body structure, we're kind of working on establishing a system that involves a certain spectrum where a person can find where they fit on that spectrum and train accordingly. Because now there will be exceptions to this, but as a generalization, what we're noticing is that people whose body's more in the ectomorph, lean, wiry, hard to gain mass side of the spectrum don't do so well with the high volume training usually. Usually the HIT and then the longer rest is going to work better. Someone who's maybe on the endomorph side, like take the other extreme. Not like me, I'm talking full on endomorph, like real heavy, tendency towards heaviness. I feel like people like that, from my observation, can recover from high volume training a lot easier. For one thing, when you look at their body, they have a lot more resources to work with, right? They have all types of calories sitting around on them in extra places that they might as well be using for something. So high volume training. Now with myself, when I was on my 100% vegan diet, that diet had a lot more carbs than most diets that I do well with. And I correlated that with really high volume training so I could burn off more of those carbs. So I could put them to good use. And that created a decent balance for me. Because in my case, if I eat a little too many carbs and do a little too low a volume on my training, I can get, fatter than I want to be pretty fast. So it's part genetics, and yes, the nucleus overload training definitely helped because before that my muscles hadn't dealt with 30 to 60 sets a day. And when you're doing that real high volume, you're never really straining your nervous system all that hard. So it's not really that brutal, the training. It's just very persistent. It's just, you have to love it because you're putting in a lot of reps and a lot of sets, and you need your mind to actually be in those reps. If you're just going through the motions, oh, I did my whatever sets of this, but you're not paying attention, you become one of those guys that goes to the gym year after year and always looks the same. So if it's too boring to train that way, it doesn't work. But when your mind is really focused and you're doing high rep with light weight, you can very much increase your mind-muscle connection by making every single one of those reps count. Every single time you're focusing on getting a more clear signal from your brain to that muscle. And you are building that nervous pathway, that highway through your nerves to those muscles as you do that. So all that really high rep stuff, not only did it build more nucleus into my muscles, it built better pathways for nerves, for mind-muscle connection. Just throwing that in there for who it's valuable to. Much love. But yeah, dietarily wise, the better your supplements, the better your rest, the better your micronutrients especially, you will notice recovery can be a lot better than it is for most people. Definitely. Because there were times when I was overtrained in the past, in my 20s, right? Oh, you're at your best in your 20s. Nah, this me can run circles around the me from my 20s. He was overtrained all the time, and he didn't even put as much volume in as I do now. So over the years, my mind, body, spirit health, as well as my use of supplements and nutrition, all these things have improved, and it has drastically improved my recovery ability, okay? Certain supplements help. Check out my basic supplement stack for vitality under the high testosterone video, so you guys will know my basic supplements for high vitality for anybody, athlete or not. And yes, it'll help with bodybuilding. Much love. Awesome question. Next question. You mentioned in the earlier Q&As that it destroys the digestive system to eat protein and carbs at the same time. Well, not exactly just to eat proteins and carbs. More specifically, it's starchy carbs or sugary carbs with proteins. That jacks you up. If you're eating non-starchy carbs like, broccoli and green leafy stuff, that's great. You should eat that stuff with your high protein meals. You should eat that for the micronutrients, for the healthy fiber, and for the alkaline minerals and so forth that your body needs. But what you shouldn't do is combine starchy things with high proteins, and everybody does this in modern society. It's meat and potatoes, it's spaghetti and meatballs, it's cheese quesadillas. I mean, every food, normal thing that people like. Look at a pizza, It's like a pile of gluten and dairy and carbs and fats all mixed together. I bring up pizza because that was my weakness. When I was a kid growing up, I was a pizza-holic. And it was terrible for me. It damaged my health. I was constipated damn near to death all the time. It was horrible. But I loved it. It was an addiction, and I still think about that addiction decades later. I probably wouldn't actually like even eating a pizza now. Probably wouldn't taste the way I remember. But I just look at all these common food combinations. Burgers, okay? Crappy wheat and a piece of meat. It's always starches mixed with high-fat, high-protein foods, and this is destruction to the human metabolism. Let's rewind back into nature, guys, before there was this thing called societies and cities and humans who created this economy where we send each other foods from all these different places all over the world all the time. And now you can just take every food group in the world and pile it on your plate together and shove it all in you like a big fat glutton, and it's so fun. And don't get me wrong, I've done a lot of that. The problem is it's entirely unnatural. Your digestive organs don't know what the fuck we're doing because they didn't evolve that way. They were never meant to work that way. Nowhere in nature for all the thousands of years when people lived closer to what's natural was there's no spaghetti tree with meatballs. There's no way to combine these things. When you live in nature, you might find some berries, and if you do, you eat them. And then you go on to the next thing. And then you find an animal and trap it and catch it, and then you eat that. And then you go on to the next thing. Maybe you catch some fish. Maybe you find some mushrooms. But it's one thing at a time, guys. And that way you actually digest it and use it well. Because each food, anything you can call a food and consume, it's totally molecularly different than any other food. And when you take starches and high proteins and put them in the stomach, your digestive system decides to digest whatever's easiest. So it releases enzymes to digest those starches, and then all that protein just rots in your body as roadkill and poisons you. Okay? This is where meat causes real health problems for a lot of people. Even people who would be able to handle meat or animal products in a healthy way if they were eating it by itself, they're doing serious damage to themselves by destroying the digestive process. You're not really digesting most of that meat, you're just being poisoned by most of it. So, let's continue with the rest of your question. It says, but what about natural foods that contain both of these, for example, lentils? Will they only be partially digested? This is an awesome question. Thank you for bringing it up. No. In nature, any whole food you find in nature has a very intelligent design to it. The particular ratios of carbs, fats, proteins in that food will also have the correct micronutrients and everything else with it to where it'll work as a cohesive unit. This does not mean that every single food out there is going to be ideal for every person. For example, potatoes. Potatoes are super healthy for a lot of people. However, for someone like me who doesn't metabolize sugars very fast, if I eat too many potatoes, I just get fatter. And as we all know, health problems come with extra body fat, right? So even though that's a healthy food, and I could even be eating it by itself, if I overeat on it, it's unhealthy for me. My point with this is that everybody's metabolism is unique. Fruits, for example, I avoid most of them. I'm not a person who should eat a lot of fruit, period. I have a glucose meter, okay? Fruitarians out there, don't shit in your hand and throw it at me. It's only going to splatter on your own monitor in case you haven't figured that out yet. But the deal is, not everybody should even eat fruit. Spikes certain people's sugar and fucks them up. I'm one of them. There are certain fruits like goji berries and a few other special things I make exceptions for because they're different. There's a lot of different types of fruit out there. But again, my point is, a natural food in and of itself is great. That does not mean that every single person should eat it, but it does mean that the food combinations in it make sense and it will digest well. Unless you just can't digest that food. Me, for example, I don't digest grains well. They come out exactly the same as they went in, and they cause a whole bunch of swelling and gas and irritation in my gut on the way through. So what's the point? There is no point. It's like trying to make myself eat sawdust or something. It just doesn't work. Other things I can digest really well compared to most people. So my wife and most of her family, they can't digest red meat worth of shit. Like it just clogs them up and hurts them every time they eat it. Now me, I could always digest red meat easy. I don't eat red meat anymore because, like I said, the cattle industry is doing way too much harm to this planet. Furthermore, I'd like to spare the cows. But anyway, the point is different people's enzymes that their body's good at secreting are different. So different people are going to digest different things differently. But the simple answer to your question, when you look at a single whole food and it contains both carbs, fats, proteins, that's okay. That's natural. It's when you take two different foods that are entirely different foods, and one's a starchy thing and one's a high protein thing, that's really hard on the body, okay? Just as a general specific answer to your question. Good question, thank you. Next question. Any outside the box ways to condition yourself for combat? Not getting stronger, but getting better endurance, stamina, recovery abilities like jumping rope. Yeah, anything like that. Now, I design, for certain people, the Nether Better upgrade that I've designed for them is really for that. It's basically like an MMA circuit to get you into the kind of conditioning you need to even be able to spar. Because no matter how good your cardio is, even if you have super good cardio like you're an elite runner, you still won't be able to spar because your muscle endurance will just give out on you and you just get your ass beat. So there are very specific drills that you do at a fast pace to condition your whole body to not only have the cardio, but to have extreme muscle endurance everywhere that you're going to need at the same time. So I can design something like that for another better upgrade if you're interested for $15, or just a few tips. You could just Google MMA conditioning drills. I mean, all that's what that stuff's for. Now, me personally, as with always, I'll just tell you this. Specificity of training. If you want to be a fighter, the best way to be a fighter is to practice fighting, period. So, if you can find a gym that provides plenty of opportunity for sparring, that is the very best way to get in shape for fighting, okay? Is by doing it. As close to full force as you can do without people being constantly, laid out in sparring. So, yeah, that's my 2 cents. Hopefully that helps. Much love. Next question. Opinions on a low volume, full body workout every day. I think I've been over this. Sounds good if that works for your goals. Depends what your goals are. Nothing wrong with it though. That's all I can really say without knowing more. Alright. Next question. And thank you. Much love. Next question. Nether, I did your chest shrug variation. I feel close to zero chest activation on normal things like 1 or 2 arm dumbbell presses laying down, bench press, etc. More like 8% activation, but still pretty shit. Exactly, man. That's why I invented this. My upper chest never did anything on any standard exercise. I mean, it was kind of there, but my shoulders were doing almost everything. Your chest shrug did them laying to a barbell and squat rack. Didn't really like that, so I grabbed a seat, adjustable, Put the back support at about this angle you're showing, or a bit lower. So then I walked behind that seat and pressed my lats against it. My back, I did it with one hand dumbbell, did like 35 pounds by 10, both sides of course, 40 by 10, 45 by 10. I really had to position, hold on, I'm scrolling down here. I really had to position my chest almost looking to the ceiling above me for the shrug to work my chest, and my shoulders had to hang low. When you perform this exercise correctly, there's at least what feels like a 70% activation. It's probably more like 80 plus. Yeah, when you get it really, really good, it's like more than 100. Like the contraction's so hard it almost feels too hard. It's crazy. Probably why that earlier poster asked if he's going to rip his chest off doing these. He's feeling it, how hard he's able to contract it. Yeah. For someone with better genetics, he may even feel it more. This is the fucking king of chest exercises. Thanks for noticing, my friend. Thanks for confirming that. I did them like a shrug, but at the same time, towards the end, I moved my hand forward just a little, like you're doing a delta exercise. Yeah. And I rotate my knuckles toward my body towards the end of the rep. Yep, me too. It's how you get the best contraction. 10 out of 10 exercise we'll recommend to friends and real people online. Awesome, man. Thank you. Sooner or later, I don't know if it'll take 10 years or 10,000, but sooner or later you'll see a lot of people using this out there if we go ahead and make some upper chests and then share it with people. Because like you say, and it's not just you and me, there's a lot of people that cannot activate their upper chest worth of shit with any of these standard exercises because they're all compound moves. And if you happen to be more shoulder dominant or more arm dominant, good luck working your upper chest when all you have is compound moves, right? Now you don't. Now you have true isolation. Thank you. I'll take a bow. Yeah, just playing. Jeff Cavalier thought of an exercise like this too, so anyway. Not trying to patent it and get rich. I just want people to know about it and use it. Get those gains. You had a lady laugh at you, but that's okay. You laugh with them and you don't get offended by dumb stuff. They're closed-minded. And they laugh at your neck exercises. Yeah, and some lady, she doesn't probably care about having big chest muscles, so what would she know? But anyway, that's awesome, man. When you know you're doing something that, you're ahead of the crowd and you just don't give a shit if they don't get it, the more you get used to that, like the better life gets. It gets so easy after a while to just be like, yeah, okay, you guys, you don't get it, whatever. Your loss. Much love and respect, man. Next question. Thoughts on Shawn Baker and the carnivore diet? Don't know, man. Again, I don't know of a lot of the who's who out there in the world. I'm not a people watcher, So I can't comment directly on that. But I'm aware of some of these carnivore diets, and usually, like I said before in the last Q&A, it's usually just an overcompensation for some other extreme diet they did that they didn't like, and now they're on to a new diet food religion. Like if you eat 100% something, some magic thing is going to happen and fix all your problems. But anyway, for the vast majority of people, I don't think a carnivore diet is really in their best interest. Not in their very best interest, anyway. Alright. Where was I? I just lost my scroll point. Here we go. What's your favorite shoulder exercise for the moment? Wow, what an interesting question. Favorite shoulder exercise? Damn. I'm going to be a weirdo, and I'm going to say that the above-the-knee rack pull, the way it makes my rear delt sore. I know that's such a weird way to answer this, but that made a good impression on me recently when I did the 50 reps with 1,000 pounds above the knee rack pull. I got a lot of good muscle soreness in a lot of places, but I was really impressed with my rear delts, how sore they were. However, other cool ideas. There's a kind of a shoulder super duper circuit that I invented lately that I've been putting on certain people's nether better upgrades, especially the ones that want more shoulder development. But that's not a shoulder exercise. That's a triple set of different things. So the thing with shoulders is, in order to have the best looking shoulders, there's really no way. I won't say there's no way, but a person really needs to include plenty of lateral raises. And that can get really boring if you don't find different ways to do it. But I almost want to say it's my favorite, just because the good old lateral raise, it needs to be important to people if you want to have complete shoulder development. Now, granted, overhead pressing is the most manly shoulder exercise probably. So if you said, okay, you can only pick one, I guess I would pick a full body standing overhead press where I could use my full body if I was only ever allowed to do one shoulder exercise again, I don't know, you really got me with that question. I don't have an exact favorite. I like those three different ideas for different reasons. Sorry I couldn't give you a more clear answer. You kind of stumped me on that one. Thank you, though. Good question. Moving on. Any good exercises to target the muffin top fat? No, you can't really exercise your muffin top because there's no muscle in it. Now, as far as, detoxing, leaning out, recomping your body, eating better food combinations so you're not screwing up your metabolism, that'll help you lean out and get rid of some of that. Now, you could get some topical results by putting organic castor oil with organic turmeric powder mixed in and rubbing it all over that area. Now, again, this will stain the shit out of anything it touches. Just FYI, don't blame me. But the turmeric oil, or the organic castor oil, will penetrate deep and disinfect nasty, toxic things that often cause weird fat deposits. And while it's doing that, it will carry some of the turmeric powder will actually penetrate deeper into the area. And the turmeric powder is very anti-estrogenic. And pretty much anytime you have a weird fat deposit that just doesn't look very good on your body, there's estrogen in there. Fat cells like that even produce estrogen. So anything you can get in there to lower that estrogen effect is going to dry them out and make it easier to get rid of that weird, stubborn, funny fat deposit. But a lot of it's going to have to do with diet, body cleanliness of the lymph system, as well as hormone balance and all that at the deeper level. Those are the things you want to be looking into and coming to understand about what it is to own a human body and how you can really master one and really own it. That's all I can really say on that. There's no exact exercises for a muffin top, If I was to give you one exercise, I'd say rebounding on a trampoline, because jumping up and down on a little cheap trampoline for 2 to 3 minutes a day can do more to detox garbage out of the lymph system and actually help a person lean out, believe it or not. Like, if you don't care about your health yet, but you're hearing what I'm saying about the recomp effect. But yeah, a trampoline saves lives. There's been people heal themselves from cancer using no more than rebounding on a trampoline. Now, I don't think I can be sued or shot for saying that, because I didn't say I healed him. I said there's people who have healed themselves that way, okay? So it's very healthy. It can lean you out. It can get a toxic lymph system moving. And the lymph system has not been understood or explained, and humanity's just blind about it. But your lymph system can't move itself like your circulatory system. It's completely movement-based. This is why being sedentary kills the shit out of people. You don't move your lymph, and all your lymph nodes clog, and that's your body's defense system from every toxic acid you have. So once your lymph nodes are clogged, what's left? Now all the acids and all the garbage just goes right into your organs and just eats you up. There's no defense system left anymore. So moving the lymph system and getting it open again, guys, that's probably the best anti-aging tip right there on this Q&A today. So, much love. Good question. Regarding the Edgar Cayce food combinations, is it bad to have lentils and rice together? No, that's a good combo. Because they're two starches, yeah. They're two foods that contain starches, but they're not, like lentils wouldn't be considered a starch food. even though they have some starch, it's not really what's a starchy food per se. And generally, most people digest rice and beans well together, especially lentils, being that they're the easiest beans in the world to digest. So in this case, that's fine as a food combination. Yeah, that rule. Okay, you're asking about don't combine starch and protein. Yeah, we're mainly talking about when they're saying protein in that context. We are talking heavy animal foods. That's what they're really referring to. So yes, you do not want to combine starches with animal products if you care about your health and longevity, as well as physique, how you feel, how you look, all of it. How much am I affecting my health by eating like this in situations where there's no other choice? You're fine with that. You're fine. Lentils and rice, and now the only thing I would say is some people don't digest rice well. I'm one of them. My body hates rice as much as I like eating it. It tears me up. It just doesn't work for me genetically, so I can't digest rice worth a damn. So for me, that any food combination with rice doesn't really work. But as long as you're digesting it okay, that combination is fine. You got nothing to worry about there. Much love. Next question. Minimizing laziness. Well, I think, from my experience in this world, believe it or not, I've been called lazy by plenty of people, and I could literally work them to death in under a minute if they tried to keep up with some of the stuff I do. So the word lazy gets thrown around in this world, and there's parents throwing it at their kids. There's schools throwing it. There's the TV. There's all these influences and ideas, but what I'm really driving at here is that I believe if you think you're lazy, I actually believe that you're trying to live a life that isn't authentic to you. You're trying to put energy into things that you honestly have no passion for. You don't give a shit. The truth is, if you find your own heart and find out who you are and what you came into this world to be, you'll have all kinds of passion and energy. You'll have an endless supply of energy for that, okay? I don't actually believe anybody's lazy. I believe humans are very discouraged. Most of them, okay? So, meditation, finding your own center, your own heart, and who you really are, even though nobody in this world is going to tell you that or give you permission or necessarily be supportive, you have to find that for yourself, and you have to be it. And eventually everybody else will recognize you and finally be supportive of what you are. But between here and there, you have to honor yourself. You have to honor your own truth when in a world where nobody else is going to do it for you, okay? And you will find that if you can be true to who you really are, find what your real interest and passion is and what you're really meant to do, what you're really here for, you'll have an endless supply of motivation for that, okay? And you can really lead in that field because that's real. When you find passion for something, guys, that's because you have a real calling in that area, whether anybody around you recognizes that or not, okay? So that's my answer to that question. Much love. Next question. Tips on how to grow rear delts. Rack pulls above the knee. No, that works for me. Probably wide grip snatch rack pulls from below the knee or above the knee. You could try that as part of your back workouts for hitting rear delts. Standard pull-ups that are weighted negative pull-ups, palms forward, arms wide. You got to pull this way with your rear delts. My arm can't go down this way right now without my rear delt pulling it down, okay? So you can do the reverse. You can get up on a chair with heavy weights hanging from you, grab that chin-up bar, pull your feet out from under you, and just resist that sumbitch all the way down. Fight as hard as you can. Fight it for 3 minutes straight if you can. And that one rep will do more to build your rear delts than all the stupid machine rear delt flies that you can ever see some juiced up bodybuilder waste his steroids on. My point with that is that you'll see a lot of pro bodybuilders using half-assed chicken shit exercises because they have so many androgens in their body they're growing anyway. But honestly, those guys could look way more freaky than they do if they actually had to find superior exercises for their gains. And I'm not against steroid users, by the way. If you're juiced and you want to get better results, dude, work with me, okay? That's a great platform. Because superior training is superior training. Whether we're doing it in an environment with extra hormones or environment not with extra hormones, superior training is superior training. So hit me up, guys. Don't be shy. Just because I don't take fucking steroids, I actually don't have any moral judgments against people who do, okay? That's just a different path. That's pushing the scientific envelope path. I actually think it's cool in a certain way because humans have to explore all avenues. That's why I had so much respect for Rich Piana, even though, he shortened his life a lot abusing steroids. He told people that. And he told kids, look, if you want to go on this path, you have to acknowledge to yourself that you're willing to trade time off your life, possibly, to have bigger muscles, okay? As long as you're mature enough to make that decision for yourself and you're being real about it, I'll support you on your goals. Why not be the best juiced beast ever? And I'd like to help, okay? So anyway, I'm just throwing that in there. Somebody might want to timestamp that so people that are on the gear aren't afraid to hit me up. Okay. So for rear delts, the other thing I'd advise is good old rear delt swings. Because if you're willing to transcend your mind a bit, or at least have a strong mind, you can put in one set of rear delt swings that go so long and hard you get serious gains from it. Off one. Excuse me. When it comes to rear delt swings, that's one of those exercises where I would tell people aim to do it all in one set. Use weight straps so your grip doesn't become an issue, so it's not even a distraction, and rep that shit till your rear delts fall off, okay? One set. Boom. Gains incoming. So those are a few ideas that really will work if you apply yourself. Okay. Much love. Next question. What dosage do you recommend for methyl B12, and why do some people report increased tiredness after megadosing? Is there a vitamin being depleted? Also, what are your thoughts on caffeine in regard to health and working out? My recommended dose on a B12, when you're starting out supplementing methyl B12, I'd say take one pill every day. And most of these pills, they're something huge, like 80,000% of your daily value or something. But you can OD on B12. It builds up in your system. So what I would say is for a couple weeks, take a pill every day. And after that, for maintenance, you can just take a pill maybe once or twice a week. Because like I said, B12 builds up in your system, and it takes time to build it up, and it takes time to deplete it. So it's kind of like a loading phase, okay? I would have someone do like a loading phase where you take a pill each day for a couple weeks, and after that, take 1 or 2 pills a week for maintenance. Now, I have not personally heard of anybody becoming tired from megadosing, but yes, I would highly suspect that if you're taking a supersonic, ridiculous, 8 million% of your B12 every day, you may in fact be creating an imbalance with the other B vitamins where the ratio is so low now on some other B vitamin compared to your B12 levels that they're not able to work right together and you're getting depleted. So it is wise to have a more multifaceted B12 or B vitamin, either a diet that includes all your B vitamins in good amounts or a high quality B vitamin supplement overall. So, if a person wants to go that route and just get a high-quality B vitamin supplement that has methyl B12 in it, not any of the other type of B12s, methyl B12, that'd be good. Because now you're taking a good quality supplement for all your B vitamins. Generally, B12 is the one that people are rampantly deficient in, but I do believe that your instincts are correct here. When you overdo it on one thing, you can create an imbalance. This happens all the time with nutrition, or you can create an imbalance of something else. And just off the top of my head, intuitively, that's what I would guess, that the ratio of B vitamins is so far off when people are megadosing, supersonic levels of B12 that are just ridiculous. Like I said, one of those pills has like 80,000% of your daily B12 value. So after a couple weeks of that, you could probably just take one pill a week. The thing with B12 is certain people have a lot more issues absorbing it than others. So some people, they might be taking more than they need but not absorbing it. Others may absorb it really well right away, and they might only need one B12 pill to have their entire body just resupplied with all they could need for a long time. Now, it's not something you can overdose. The methyl B12 won't hurt you in and of itself. You'll just pee out the extra. But if it is exacerbating an imbalance of B vitamins that someone already has, they might want to address that and bring up all their other B vitamins to work in synergy. Awesome question. Awesome theory. I like the way you're thinking. All right, thank you. Next question. This is another one about not being able to afford all the supplements I recommended. Which ones to prioritize? So I'm going to leave that because I pretty much answered that same question earlier. I don't want 2 timestamps saying the same thing in the same Q&A. Anthony Gregorian, would you like if someone made you an Instagram account on your lifts and such? Dude, if you do that, I will love it. That will be awesome, yes. I'm not much of a tech guy. I'm not going to be building all these different accounts to all these different gadgets. If somebody wants to build anything that links anything to my channel and creates more traffic or energy or connections or whatever, man, I love that, man. If you do that for me, I owe you a favor or something, man. All right? Just let me know what I can do to be cool to you, because that would be really, really an awesome thing to do. No pressure. I know life's busy, but if for some reason you can do that and you want to, I would love that. I'd really be thankful, brother. What an awesome thing to even post on a Q&A. Thank you. Much love. Next question. What are your thoughts on Eric Bugenhagen? He seems to have tapped into something more in himself akin to what you discuss. His mindset, view, and the way he channels his energy into almost transcendent strength is quite similar to you. He just voices it in a different way. Yeah, when you watch Eric's videos, I mean, you can't help but feel the energy. The dude definitely is channeling more of his real true energy than most people dare do. So I love it. It's always fun and inspiring to watch him, you know? Definitely. And nothing but love and respect for that guy, you know? He's such a positive person. I mean, and he's such a positive role model for so many, and he's a badass, and I love the way he does all kinds of lifts that he's interested in. I don't see him sticking to the basic 3 boring things. I'm not saying he can't bench, squat, and dead. I'm sure he can, but I don't see him wasting a lot of video space doing some shit that I won't even watch because I've already seen everybody else do it. I click on one of Eric's videos. It's not only is the high energy in that element, I can see why he got like drafted into pro wrestling, you know, because he brings that whole like really theatrical, pumped up energy to the thing. So that's cool. Yeah, he's really made a brand for himself just being who he is, you know. So yeah, nothing but respect. Love it. Love it. Cool question. Thank you. Next question. Are you a car guy? Well, if you're asking like if I like working on cars and having cars and shit, hell no. Now, a long time ago, when I was first, you know, old enough to drive or getting old enough to drive, I was into cars then. But now I don't own a car, and if I can keep it that way, I will. The less vehicles I have to take care of and maintain, the better life is. A car can be very helpful. My wife and I are sharing one currently, keeping it running. But no. I come from a family of like mechanical geniuses who custom build all even flying contraptions. I'm not even joking. But I'm not that guy. I don't like having to wrench on machines all the time. I'm decent at it. You know, I'm not afraid. You know, I have a lot of tools. I'm not afraid to get into something. I'm a pretty good mechanic, both on cars and houses. But I hate modern cars the way they're built. It's just a bunch of chicken shit wires. I can't even get in there and work on anything. And if you fart on it, it messes up something else because it's also overcomplicated and shit. So no. If I was a car guy, I'd want to work on old cars that you can actually get under the hood and actually there's space to work on things. But I'm really not. I'm not a car guy, if that's what you meant by that. If I was a car guy and you guys wanted to get me my dream car, I would like a Humvee with the Cummins turbo diesel kit installed instead of that stupid GM diesel engine. It's a piece of shit. I've owned some of those. The engine, not the Humvee. Anyway. Back when I was 20, I cared about shit like that. All right. Cool question, though. Much love. Glad we established that. Next question. I'm currently doing upper-lower split, and I would like to add rack pulls to my routine. I do deadlift variations, trap bar and Jefferson as my main movement on lower body days. So I'd like to know if I should do rack pulls on my upper body days, or is it too taxing to do rack pulls and deadlifts on consecutive days? Yeah, so I would not say it's too taxing. How do you feel after your normal lower body off the floor day? Are you weak? Are you really sore? If you're not, then I'd say go for it, man. Do a rack pull day, because well, maybe you don't know, but one of my initial videos when I started the channel before was about my nether splits concept, where, I don't have limiting rules like most people do. If I want to hit my back 3 different ways for 3 different days, that's what I do. If I want to hit my shoulders for 5 days in a row, that's what I'll do. In other words, there's nothing wrong with doing your off the floor stuff for lower body and hitting back that day, and then the next day just annihilating your upper back with rack pulls. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And then after that, you can rest however many days you need for your back to be fully recovered. So yeah, as long as you have enough strength to do rack pulls like you mean it, I'd say it's great. I believe that the compound damage you do to a muscle group when you train it multiple days in a row using different exercises results in better gains down the line than anything you can do in one day. So I actually think that's a little bit brilliant, that technique, as long as you're strong enough that second day to do rack pulls and make it count. So interesting, very cool question. Much love. Next question. What is your opinion on natural strength? Do you think a natural powerlifter can grow strength near record levels? For example, a 400 kilogram deadlift. 400 kilograms. Let me try to convert that to pounds real quick. That's something like what, like 900 and something deadlift, I'm guessing? Yeah, I absolutely believe that a natural can lift almost, well, I believe a natural can lift. I believe that a natural could even win if it's the right natural. I do not personally, now granted I have a very strong nervous system, so I was always very strong pound for pound. So I don't personally see mass as always being that well correlated to strength. That being said, as a generalization, of course, if you put a bigger diameter on a leg or an arm that's let me explain how this works. This is why a fat guy will outlift a guy with the same amount of muscle if all other things are equal. Because somewhere let's take an arm. Let's say this is the fat guy's arm. And because he has more fat and water in his arm, it stretches his arm out to a bigger diameter. That means that as he's pulling, his muscle fibers are now pulling from farther away from the bone, giving him better leverage. So all other things being equal, when you get bigger and thicker and fatter and heavier, your leverages, not only do you have more mass to pull with, but your leverages are getting better as you're getting thicker and fatter. Having a big, huge ass belly to bounce your squats and bench press. Now, I would never do that to myself to have higher numbers, but I can see how it entirely works. So being built for powerlifting is one thing. And honestly, you could have a natural guy who's just big enough and fat enough and huge enough to outlift all those guys. Not to mention, you could just have somebody with a stronger nervous system and a mind that's more outside the box that'll do it one of these days. But me personally, I would not be all that surprised to see somebody naturally set numbers that are totally comparable to the juiced powerlifters. I wouldn't be that surprised. That would not be hard for me to believe like it would for some people, okay? Hell, I've lifted things personally that supposedly you can't lift, and supposedly no natural lifted. I highly doubt that, but there you go, So, yeah, I entirely believe that strength is not nearly as much. What am I trying to say here? In the world of powerlifting, not using performance-enhancing drugs is not going to make near as much of a difference in that world as it is in the world of bodybuilding. In the world of bodybuilding, if I was a juicer and I did all the same training and probably even all the exact same eating that I have done, instead of 240 right now, I'd probably be 340, okay? And, maybe even a lower body fat percentage. I don't know. So in other words, in bodybuilding, I believe that the performance enhancers, when it comes to just being as massive as possible in your muscles, I believe the current slew of performance enhancing drugs that exist on this planet make a lot bigger difference in bodybuilding than they do in pure strength events. Now that being said, they make some difference in strength events, and I have heard from people out there who are more honest about their drug use. Some of them say that there is a significant difference in their case on their strength when they're on gear and when they're not. Even if their size is similar, they say they have a significant difference in strength. Other people don't. They say that's not true. They don't notice the strength change. They notice the muscle fullness, the vascularity. They notice themselves losing some of their mass and appearance when they're not on the gear, but they don't really notice much of a strength drop at all. So I've heard all stories out there, and I believe it. I believe it depends on a lot where your strength is coming from. Some people are getting more of their strength out of their nervous system. Some people are getting more of it mechanically out of the shape and size of their muscles. It's a certain percentage of both those things, and even other factors in anybody's case. But yeah, that's my general take on it. I would not be all that surprised to see a natural be able to lift the numbers that a drug user can on certain power lifts. I know that it's not equal. I know that they're, that's an uphill battle, but I believe it can be done. I really do. I don't think the strength change is as extreme as people think it is from taking the drugs that are out there. Cool question. Next question. What deadlift variation is the most natural and least likely to cause injury? Probably the trap bar, to me. Somebody answered this. Hack deadlifts. I don't know about hacks. That kind of depends on the person's physiology. You could try hacks. They're better than standards. But to me, a trap bar, if you haven't felt a trap bar deadlift, oh my God. It just makes everything right. It balances the weight over your body. Instead of having you in this weird, I'm going to touch my toes and try to lift weight like a retard that would never do that in real life anyway. I just don't understand what somebody was thinking when they invented the standard deadlift. But apparently all they had was a bar, and they just quickly came up with four exercises to do. And here we are 100 years later, and everybody's too afraid to improve on that. Sad. But anyway, trap bar deadlift. That's my simple answer. To me, it's just it is the form of deadlift that everyone should do, not straight bar deadlift. Straight bar deadlift's ridiculous. So that's my quick answer. Much love. Can you build a huge, thick gorilla back with only the floor? Not that I'll do this, but I want to imagine some new possibilities and experiment. Now, I'm not understanding if you mean doing all exercises off of the floor, deadlifts and, pulls and stuff, rows, or are you talking about not even using weights and just using a floor? Like, I kind of find that unlikely that that's what you're asking, because I can't imagine. If it is, let me know, be more specific, but I'm going to assume you mean just doing lifts off the floor. And yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I'm understanding that right, it means like you're not going to do any pull downs or chin ups or anything like that. Nothing elevator to nothing. You're just lifting things off the floor. Definitely, because we all know you can hit your upper traps easy, rack pulls and stuff like that. With another row, with any kind of row, you can hit your mid back. With another row, you can hit it way better for thickness. And then for lower back, any kind there's a million ways to work your lower back pulling off the floor. So if that's what you're asking, then yes. Now, if you're talking about working, I was going to say one more thing. For building your lower lats, you got the Yates row off the floor, which works great. Because to me, without the Yates row, you'd be a little limited on your lower lats as far as pulling off the floor exercises. I generally find that pulling downward usually is better for the lats. But not true with the Yates row. Pulling upward off the floor, either seated or standing Yates rows, are amazing for lats. So, yeah, it could be done if that's what you're asking. Let me know if I misunderstood your question. If you're talking like an actual prison cell, I'm going to work out on just the floor and how to build back, That's a hell of a challenge. I'm sure I can come up with something. So let me know if that's what you mean. Much love. Next question. What are your thoughts on dealing with allergies? The only time my nose runs is when I'm at the gym. Constantly have to blow my nose and mucus buildup. It's difficult to breathe through my nose because all the junk. Sorry for the nasty image, no problem. I'm guessing it's allergies, but maybe it's something else. In any case, I would like to know your thoughts. Much love. Yeah, I'm guessing you're having a minor allergy to something that they use as a cleaning product, some toxic spray that they use all over the gym that's irritating your nose. Myself, I don't go to gyms, and I don't go to a whole lot of public buildings, but so I don't remember having that experience, but I do remember, excuse me, there's like some ranch work I do near here sometimes outdoors, and every time I'm out there, my nose is running the whole time. And I'm outdoors, so I just, blow snot all over the place, and it's fine. I'm out on a ranch doing, farm work by myself. It doesn't really matter. It's not as inconvenient as what you're dealing with in a gym. But I do believe that it is something you're minorly allergic to. Now, generally, in order to eliminate allergic reactions to things, a person has to eliminate the foods in their diet that they are somewhat allergic to, whether they know it or not. In my case, I had the most severe springtime, summertime seasonal allergies in the state, the part of the world that I'm living in now. It was bad. I'm talking blisters on my eyes, okay, and in my throat. It was almost unbearable. It made me want to shoot myself in the head. And I found that by eliminating dairy from my life, all that went completely away. I had a ragweed allergy so bad it could have probably killed me, and now I'm not allergic to it at all. It was simply undigested proteins running around inside my body wreaking havoc. But see, when you don't know anything about food and you just consume all the same shit everybody else does, and this is very, very common. Almost everybody out there has allergies to certain things that they consume on a regular basis. And even if you're not having allergic reactions to your environment, there's inflammation in different parts of your body that wouldn't be there if you weren't eating things that you're somewhat allergic to. People, I think they get this mistaken idea that if you have a food allergy, it's like some lethal thing where your head explodes when you eat a peanut, and they don't realize there's all different degrees of food allergy, and almost everybody has some of them. I'm learning this about my body more and more over time, eliminating things that are really freaking bad for me, that the industry that sells that product will swear to you with all their special studies that you need it and it's good for you. And it's killing you because it's not right for your DNA or your body. So there's a lot of systems out there on how to systematically figure out which foods in your life are not really right for you. If you really want to master your body so you don't have allergies and more importantly, you don't have bigger health issues down the road, I would recommend that. I'd recommend looking into learning about how to identify and discover your own food allergies, follow the process and do it, and get to know your own body. Guys, this is just like having a glucose meter. These are steps that you can take to master your body and metabolism so you don't have to be putting shit in you that's working against your goals every day of your life, okay? You can eliminate a lot of the enemies to your own progress that are right under your nose and you don't know it now, okay? So this is a word to the wise. Good question. Glad I got to answer that. That's important for people to hear that. Thank you. Much love. Was there any more to that question? Yeah, okay. Pretty good. Good answer. Next question. What do you think of kelp or other algae for iodine intake? As long as it's a form of algae that is confirmed, there is iodine in it, that's great. Yeah. Now granted, algae are often coming from places where there might be a little bit high radiation levels in the ocean depending on where you're getting them. So just know your sources, have a clean source. But yeah, a real food source of sea vegetation, not only is it great for the iodine, but there's just a lot of good minerals in algae that you can digest. So yeah, that's great. If you prefer to do it that way, over taking the drops for iodine, that works, as long as you got yourself covered in a radioactive world. Much love. Next question. What type of exercises do you do for cardio? Do you eat raw garlic with a meal or on an empty stomach? Raw garlic I eat with food, generally heavier foods in what I do, because the magic of garlic is you have to mix those raw juices and consume it quickly. There's a chain reaction that occurs. So the perfect way to do it is to have food in your mouth, some kind of a heavy mouthful of food, throw a clove of garlic in there, crunch it all up real fast in your teeth, and swallow it before the juice starts burning the shit out of your mouth. Get it down. And I can eat a whole bulb like that easy with a meal. I've eaten 2 bulbs. I think that's excessive. At some point you might melt through your arteries or something, but you can definitely eat cloves of garlic that way, and that's a powerful, effective medicinal way to use it, really, to strengthen your body. What type of exercises do you do for cardio? Let me think of some of them. Running. I do sprints. I do normal road work type running. Sometimes the way I train with weights is cardio based. I do circuits of training sometimes. What else do I like for cardio? Well, sparring, fighting, things like that. That's the best cardio ever. My favorite form of it. Extreme hiking. Hiking at high altitude at a fast pace up rocky sides of cliffs and stuff like that. I like things like that. What else do I do for cardio? I don't know. That's what comes to me off the top of my head. Much love. Next question. How to get big traps at 16 years old? Nothing seems to work. I've rack pulled close to 600, shrugged 315. Any suggestions would be appreciated. So apparently your traps are not genetically, maybe your attachment points on your traps don't make them show all that well. Maybe it's not one of your genetic strong points from a bodybuilding perspective. That being said, in the long run, that might be a good thing, because what a lot of people, I know it's really popular to build traps right now, but what a lot of people don't realize, when you have the really mounded up traps, unless you have really good shoulders, it makes you look narrow. It doesn't look that good. So if you're going to have extreme traps, you need to have really wide, really well-developed shoulders, or else it just makes your shoulders look weak. So anyway, what I'm saying here is there's no body type that's really the ultimate. There's pluses and minuses to any different structure. Now I kind of have to guess here because I don't know. I mean, you've told me kind of that you're pretty strong, but I don't know what kind of workouts you've done with your traps. I don't know if you just lift a heavy weight and walk away. I don't know if you do mad volume. I don't know which methods you've used. What I would say, if we're talking just basic upper traps, the ones that pop up, for visual appeal, even from the front, I'd say stick with your rack pulls, but don't worry about maxing out. Pick a weight that's maybe half your max, and 1 week I would try above the knee. I would wrap my hands and I would rep it till I couldn't, Use my 50 reps with 1,000 pounds video for an example if you want. The next week I would try below the knee and do the same thing. And I would see which way, I say week, you could wait 10 days, you can wait 2 weeks, whatever. Your next time doing it, I would go below the knee. And again, just do 1 set where you rep to absolute utter maniacal failure. And write down or make a mental note which way your traps got more sore. Then you'll at least know the angle. Do you need to be hitting them from below the knee pull or above the knee? For me, as far as top traps, above the knee works fine. In fact, I can hit all my traps from there. But everybody's bone structure is a little different, so I don't want to say that for sure. But that's what I would do. I would look for that one supersonic, why not aim for transcendent training for your traps? Why not aim for 100 reps on a rack pull with a weight that's, somewhat substantial, something you might only do 10 reps with now. Think about that. You get to where you can do 100 reps on a rack pull with what you can only do 10 reps with now, there's no way in hell you're not going to have made trap gains, as well as a bunch of other meat on your back and your quads probably, and core and forearms and all kinds of shit. So even your neck can get bigger doing things like that. Anyway, that's my thought. Being that I don't know more about what your actual training history, how exactly you have been attacking your traps, that's all I would say for now. But there's no way a person can take a weight that today they can maybe do a 10 rep set on a rack pull, and transcend their way all the way up to a 100 rep set and not make some mad trap gains. There's no way. That much I do know. So much love. Think about that, my friend. Let me know where we go from there, if you have follow-up questions or anything. All right, next question. Can you please elaborate on your opinions on spot reduction? Yeah, spot reduction through exercise, I'm with most people. There may be some sort of limited degree where sometimes that's possible, but I haven't seen a lot of good evidence of it working well. But what I have seen for spot reduction is topical use of certain supplemental substances I have seen actually work. So again, and hopefully I won't have to keep saying this when I get it in enough timestamps, but organic castor oil with organic turmeric powder mixed in. This will make a yellow oily paste that will stain anything it touches, and I mean stain it. So again, just know that. Might want to wrap it in plastic or something, sleep in it overnight, sleep on a tarp. I've heard of a lot of different people doing this a lot of different ways, but that mixture put onto weird topical fat deposits. You got to understand that anytime you got a weird stubborn fat deposit, there's something toxic and there's something hormonal going on in that area. So when you can put something in there that detoxes nasty toxins, helps break them down and remove them from the body, and lowers hormonal estrogen structures that are producing more fat cells, that helps. A lot more than any crunches and wishful thinking, okay? So that's my basic 2 cents on that. Much love. Next question. What would you do, or what would you have done in your past if you wanted to build extremely large shoulders? What advice would you give someone who isn't very strong that wanted to build huge shoulders versus someone who is very strong, or would the answer be the same? Interesting. I like your question. Cool. So let's say you want to build big shoulders, but you're not really that strong, at least in your shoulders. Well, there's a lot of intensity techniques. You could, here's where I might start. If shoulders were really my goal, and I knew that I meant it, and this was a serious long-term goal for me, to have some of the most badass shoulders around, I would start by doing a month or 2 of nucleus overload on shoulders. Go watch my nether ending set video. For 5 minutes, I just rep, and I'm sore right now from doing it yesterday actually, rep 10 pounds on a lateral raise for 5 minutes straight, okay? Now, if you do that every day for a month or 2, and furthermore, you might want to be real hardcore about this. You might want to do 1 set. What you want to do is play a song that gets you pumped. Aim for a pretty long song. You can start with 3-minute songs at first, but you want to work up your way to 5 minutes or more. Pick a good song and rep the whole time. Then pick another song, lean forward and do rear delt swings same way. Rep that for 5 minutes straight. Boom, you're done. You do that every day for a month or 2 and then go back to more standard lifting, you'll get more gains. Now I also have a nice shoulder bodybuilder super duper set that I like to give people. This is for bodybuilding with shoulders. If you don't really care about your 1 rep max overhead press and you're not training for that right now, you can use this. What you can do, grab a pair of dumbbells that maybe you can do lateral raises for. Pick something heavy that you can only do like 5 to 10 reps with good form. Then throw up some more cheat reps. When your form starts to get really bad, don't drop the dumbbells. Start overhead pressing them. When your form starts breaking down on overhead press, start using your body. Do this in a standing position where you can use a lot of body English. Keep throwing those weights up and get a whole bunch of extra negative reps on the overhead press. Then, still don't drop the weights. Lean forward and do rear delt swings until your shoulders fall off. Okay? And that's 1 set. Basically, your lateral delts, for example, they'll be working through that entire set. They're working on all 3 of those exercises. Your rear delts are getting hit pretty hard the whole time. Front delts are mostly only getting hit on the overhead press, but everybody overtrains their front delts compared to their rear and mid anyway, so I'm not going to worry about that for now. But that super duper set done once with full intensity, holy shit, shoulder gains incoming. You want to do it 2 times, maybe 4 times in 1 training session? If you're really applying yourself, it's going to be hard to lift a glass of water to your mouth when that exercise is over, but you will get the shoulders, man. You do that, You do that kind of shoulder training instead of your standard boring do a set the weight down, walk over here, do a set of this, set the weight down, walk over here. Why set the weight down? Do 3 different shoulder exercises in one. They will be smoking on fire and screaming, and they will grow from that. So there you go. Off the top of my head, that's something good to work with, my friend. And you don't have to be strong. You'll get stronger because you'll be building shoulder mass and function, but you don't have to be strong to do that bodybuilding style workout. You just have to be determined and have the conviction to do it. It's not about the big numbers, it's about challenging the muscles. So much love, cool question. Moving on. Hey Nether, I was thinking about doing transcendent training method for block pulls. Just wanted to ask what block pulls work. Oh, what block pulls work and the benefits in terms of muscle gain. Now I've done mostly trap bar block pulls. So I'm going to assume you're talking about with a regular barbell. You know, a block pull is pretty similar to a rack pull depending on what height you got it at. So same muscles. Your whole backside, mostly your back and especially the upper back. You know, the yoked area. So if you want that super beastly yoked forearms and upper back look that's pretty popular these days, thanks to guys like Alex having a vision and showing people a new idea of a badass physique. Yeah, can't go wrong. Block pulls. And plus, I highly respect anybody that's willing to lift that kind of tonnage. When you pick a big compound lift and do this, just remember, you need more rest days or else all your workouts after that, they're just weak. Okay, even with me. And I have higher recovery capacity than anybody else I'm aware of. So it'll dig in deep. But that is a very productive workout for building some. You probably even build a little bit of quad, even in that short range of motion that you're lifting it. Probably build some quads, some forearms, and your entire back, especially your upper back. For me, like I said, even rear delts on a block pull or a rack pull, I'm pulling back as I do it, so my rear deltoids do a lot of work. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. I mean, unless your physiology is really weird and you're built like an octopus or something, I think you're talking about mostly back and mostly upper back and forearms and some quads probably. All right, much love. Cool question. Next question. What is the best type of mindset to have or any meditative technique that might help increase performance right before a workout? Oh boy, I can try to tell you what I think is best for me. I don't think it's the same for everybody. I'll tell you 2 different things that have worked for me. Now, in the last Q&A, I went over why coffee should probably be illegal for people like me. And I'm not one for having more laws, but if you're going to write laws about every silly little thing, they might as well write them about that too. Anyway, my point was that once in a while I'll use coffee. If I've had a long day and I'm just not in the mood and I'm too scattered and I can't figure out how to motivate myself enough to set a new personal best, I'll drink a bunch of coffee and get good nuclear pissed off, and I'll just use rage to lift that weight. However, what I prefer are days where I'm actually feeling more of a calm strength, and as I'm approaching that big personal best or whatever, I know I'm going to have a good day when I'm not getting nervous and I'm not even worried about it and I'm not even feeling any pressure, and there's this part of me that just feels like, why wouldn't I set a personal best today? It's fucking easy. Like, there are days where I just feel like that. Like, it's fucking easy. I know it's fucking easy because I've been underestimating myself every day of my life up till now. I've simply been underperforming, and today I'm going to not limit myself as much as I normally do. And when I really feel that way, furthermore, I remind myself that I'm not a human. I'm something from another world, and that's why I don't fit here. So I shouldn't limit myself to what humans expect. When I actually get in that mindset, weights that used to feel heavy, that used to strain my connective tissues, they feel like nothing. So that's just me, and that's a little bit hard to explain, I guess. But those are 2 different pathways. One's just pissed off rage, and the other, and I don't like to use that very often, the other one's more of a I like this and it's easy. It's like me looking at a weight that others would say, I don't know, that's a personal best, it looks pretty heavy, and I'm looking at it, oh no, it's easy, it's nothing. And humans are weak for even considering it that heavy, and I can't believe how light that weight really is, you know? Making molehills out of mountains as I'm approaching the weight, that's what tends to help me. When in my mind I actually diminish this thing I'm up against to where it's actually kind of small and weak, it feels easier. What I see most people do is the opposite. Oh my God, you're going for an 800-pound whatever. Oh, that's so crazy. Ah, you're making it into a mountain before you even try to lift it. I mean, you might as well just do that with 100 pounds, you know, and then feel like it's a big deal when you lift it. But I like to do the exact opposite. I like to look at a weight that most people wouldn't even consider trying and go, that ain't that heavy. That's not that big a deal. It's an illusion. And when I really transcend the normal mode of thinking, and you got to understand, for me that's easier because I spend most of my time away from everybody on purpose. You get different results when you're coming from a different world in your head. That's the truth. That's just the truth, man. I don't know how else to say it. Awesome question. Much love. Next question. Maybe one more. I feel like this has gone on pretty long. Okay, what's up, Nether Beast? I've been cutting for 8 months now, and I've lost over 12 kilograms while even gaining a bit of strength. Currently in a huge deficit. I'm 95 kilos at the moment. I'm eating around 1,900 calories a day. Wow. I want to lose like 5 kilos more and then start to lean bulk. How should I adjust my calories once I start lean bulking? Should I slowly up the calories or instantly get 300 calories above maintenance? Thanks, buddy. Keep up the good work. Okay, what works for most people would be to go ahead and up the calories by 300 and make it protein, the extra calories, because, well, and don't combine it with starchy carbs or it's just going to make you fatter. But if you eat extra protein either with fats or oils or non-starchy carbs like green vegetables, that extra protein meal or amount of protein per day is just going to go towards muscle, and it's not going to make you any fatter. If you upped your carbs, you're probably just going to gain fat, not muscle. Same with upping fat calories, although it depends on the person, their metabolism. But generally for bodybuilding purposes, and this gets abused to extremes. Pro bodybuilders, when they're approaching a show, some of them will really cut low on their carbs and fats, and they'll eat like, 4, 5, 6, 700 grams of protein a day because of all the work that the body has to do to try to digest all that. It actually can lean you out just trying to process that much protein. Now, it's not good for you. It's not good for your kidneys. It's not good for your longevity, but it will lean you out. So a basic formula for bodybuilding when it comes to lean bulking, you want to add 300 calories maybe. What should they be? I would add them in the form of a quality protein, probably after training, and not mixed with starches or sugars, okay? Those would be my general guidelines based on what you gave me there, my friend. Much love and appreciation. Awesome question. There's another one about love handles. We hit that earlier, so I'm not going to repeat it. What's my opinion on Stan Efferding's vertical diet? No idea. He recommends athletes eat more red meat for micronutrients it provides. If he's who I think he is, I think he's one of the guys Vegan Gains did a roast on, right? Worst of the fitness industry. Yeah, and it's funny because I remember doing another better upgrade for a few people that were on his diet or something, and they sent it to me. And it was all just shit, to be honest with you. You got a guy who's strong and driven and likes lifting heavy things and takes a shit ton of drugs. And because of how he looks, he now gets to sell food and supplements to a bunch of people who don't know any better. That guy doesn't know jack shit about nutrition. He doesn't know jack shit about health. He probably doesn't know jack shit about anything. He's strong, he's driven, I respect his work ethic, but I think it's fucked up how just because somebody can be big and strong and on a lot of drugs, a bunch of other people think that you should eat what they think you should eat. That's fucking insane, guys. First of all, you're not Stan Efferding, and I don't know what his health is or if he's going to be the next Rich Piana, Dallas McCarver, and be in the headlines any day now from having, 500 times as much testosterone in his body as he should. But I sure as hell wouldn't promote eating more red meat, which is the main thing fucking destroying this planet. And most people who eat more red meat, you're shortening your life. That's all you're doing. So, no. Without saying any more, yeah, no. I see a fucking numbskull who knows nothing about nutrition and shouldn't even be allowed to talk about it, honestly, or he shouldn't be taken serious. People should be allowed to say whatever the fuck they want, but in a more informed world where people took responsibility for their own health, they sure as hell wouldn't be listening to somebody like Stan Efferding when it comes to health, okay? Now, how to bench a lot? Sure. How to get into benching and whatever that he is good at? Yeah. But diet? Health? Fuck no, man. Guy doesn't strike me as healthy. I wouldn't be all that surprised if his lifespan's not very long either, so why somebody would want to eat like him, I don't know. Good question, though. Thank you for bringing that up. That's my opinion for what it's worth. Okay, next question. Hey, Nether, a few questions. When I take... I'm glad I got to this one, man. I meant to get to this. I meant to answer this before now. I've just been too busy. It says, when I take a zinc supplement, I throw up. How should I get my zinc in? Dude, you have got to mix it with a big meal, okay? If I take zinc on an empty stomach or on a stomach with not much in it, I'll probably throw up too, or at least get very nauseous. Remember, guys, there's nowhere in nature where there's a zinc tree where you can get this pill that's solid zinc. You realize that zinc is a metal, right? Now, you need a certain amount of it in your body to work right, but there's nowhere in nature where you would eat a solid pile of that metal. Your stomach is just like, what the fuck are you doing to me, dude? That's insane. Mix it in with a large meal. Dilute it. Mixed in with a bunch of food. Then it's as if you're eating a meal that was really high in zinc. That your body can deal with. But a solid pile of one metal right into your stomach can't digest something like that. It's crazy. It's too concentrated, okay? So mix it with a large meal and then you can take zinc. What do I think about 90% plus dark chocolate? Well, the nutrients in the chocolate part's great. It's the other 10% of sugar and dairy and whatever they're fucking ruining it with that wrecks it for me. I don't care how healthy a food is. When you start adding sugar and other things to it, now you've defeated the purpose. You've destroyed it. So if you can get pure dark chocolate, awesome. Raw cacao, I recommend is an amazing herb for people to carefully experiment with. It's powerful. But yeah, there's a lot of amazingly good nutrition in the actual chocolate. It's just that in this world, good luck getting chocolate that somebody didn't fuck it up with other ingredients, okay? So I don't recommend dark chocolate to people if it's got any sugar or dairy added to it. But if it's pure dark chocolate, go for it. Eat all you want. The more the merrier, okay? All right, that's my answer to that. Is saffron just an expensive food dye, or is it useful? I'm not going to answer that off the top of my head just in case I'm wrong. I'm not sure. Next question. Are there any creative ways to use a Smith machine, or is it a piece of junk? Dude, have you watched any of my videos? Like, there's endless creative ways to use a Smith machine. Now, granted, I bent mine to where I had to take it off the bars because it wouldn't slide anymore. But now I use the Smith machine in all kinds of creative ways without it even sliding on the rails. Back to my point, though. Dude, there are so many cool things you can do on a Smith machine, it's not even funny. For example, try doing free weight squats with your feet out in front of you. Not going to happen, right? But you can do it on a Smith machine. That's just one of a million examples, the positioning. Try doing... Well, I'm not going to get into more examples. I think I made my point. I love Smith machines, personally. Super valuable. Most of them aren't strong enough for me, but I think it's a really useful piece of equipment. If you're intelligent and you know how to train as an athlete and you know how to cover your athletic part of your training, you can't go wrong with a Smith machine as far as building mass and strength where you want to. It's very helpful for that. It's not the most athletic training device, obviously, because you don't have to control and balance things. But that's not the point. The point is to build muscle and strength. And for that, a Smith machine's great. So, yeah, there's endless creative ways to use anything, guys. Anything. That's my simple answer to that. Powdered turmeric versus the actual root. Well, they're both going to have advantages. Now, I've eaten both. The root's kind of, I don't like really the taste too much, but I'll eat it when I've got it. I think if I had to guess, I'll always go with the thing that's less refined. If I had to guess ultimately which one has the ultimate best profile, possibly for health benefits, I'm going to guess that it would be the whole root, because I've noticed when you eat the root, there's still juice in it, right? When you get the dried powder, no more juice. Now, I know the dried powder is active, full of living ingredients. It has a profound effect on me when I take it. Benefits. So they're both really, really good. But if somebody put a gun to my head and said, choose which one you think is the ultimate, slightly better than the other overall, I would go with the whole root. Slightly less refined. There's probably a few more nutrients still in it, okay? Cool questions. Much love. What else we got? 2 more here, and then we're calling it a day. I've got stuff to do. Best pull-up variations for thickness and how many volume on pull-ups? Okay, best pull-up variation for thickness. Narrow grip, hands in front of you. Both forward and back, okay? Try them both and see which one hits your lats harder. That'll be the best one for thickness for you. How much volume? Now, what are you training for, dude? Are you trying to be your best at pull-ups? Are you a gymnast? Are you a bodybuilder? Are you just a dude who wants to be better looking? I mean, I don't know. How much volume I would prescribe for a chin-up pull-up type workout and where that would fit in somebody's training would totally depend on their goals. What it is who are you? What are you up to? For me, I've done days where I did 20 sets of pull-ups. Now, granted, a lot of those sets were like 6 to 8 reps towards the end, you know. But that's a great workout if you want to do it by volume. Even 10 sets of pull-ups is great. That's a lot of volume for pull-ups. For most people, that'd be overwhelming. However, if you got a weight belt and some plates and you can strap to you more weight than you can lift, stand up on a chair, grab the bar, take your feet out from under you and fight a negative as long as you can. I'm talking 2-3 minutes, whatever you can do. That 1 rep probably build more muscle than 10 sets, okay? So a lot of ways to do this. It depends on what your training history is as to what would get you the most gains right now. But those are a couple ideas for kind of a vague questioning. Hopefully that helps some people. Much love. One more question. I posted my email on your Nreal Method 4 video. Go check it out over there because there's no way for me to copy or write it through my mobile phone now, man. Well, it's too hard to scroll around to different threads from this laptop right now without losing my place. And that's kind of a silly demand. I mean, do you ever have access to a computer? Because you can switch this whenever you do. Anyway, without getting distracted, I guess we'll end on that interesting note. I can't think of any more important notes. Like I said before, whoever's going to timestamp, announce that quickly so that other people don't end up timestamping it all when they don't need to. Yeah, much love, guys. That is it for now. Q&A 4. Send the bag. Much love. Over and out for now, Jedis.